On this episode, the world is coming to an end. We're going to stop and have a little dance, and we're definitely not going to step in the cupola. My name is Joe, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Viv and Garrett. Hello, faithful listeners, and welcome to All Hail the King, a podcast where we delve into the mystic, mysterious, and often macabre world of Stephen King adaptations.
I'm not going to edit anything out, except for everything we just talked about.
Yeah.
This will actually be the start of the
I
episode.
know. Honestly, just putting microphones in front of people just sort of makes you open up.
Yeah. My favourite bit that seems to be common in like almost all of our episodes of both this and First Time Flyers is us saying this is going to get edited out and it not being edited out.
Well, sometimes I just...
It's more work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also sometimes we just cannot edit it out because
Yeah.
we'll lose so much of the context.
Well, there was like that of one of the episodes, one of the early episodes, maybe
Yeah.
Supernatural, where you said something that I wanted to cut, and then like 3 minutes later you brought it up again. So
Why didn't you just cut that part out then?
Because that part was really relevant.
But like, there's ways we could do it, like if we were recording on separate audio tracks, but then it's so much more work.
Wait, hey, once we make
And look, it's more content for you lovely listeners.
Exactly.
When we get enough money, we'll be able to actually purchase a mixer which is able to channel 3 separate audio channels, and you can mix them
And
separately.
we'll have a button that plays your song.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
No, I'll do that live. Actually...
You
We
should
can
have.
use this for Joe's Queer Corner.
I don't know if we'll get one of those.
I don't know if
this
we're going to
week.
get Joe's Quick Corner this week now.
I don't know if we will.
Absolutely none.
Dancing's
Yeah, it's pretty...
Dancing's pretty gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Fucking, what's this straight man doing that?
Son, you can't dance. You look like a... Can you censor that, please? Life for Chuck?
Life of Chuck.
Did you draw the logo this time?
Oh, let's see. Hey.
You'd never miss a beat.
That's a beautiful shade of blue.
Not to skip to criticisms, I fucking hate those transition card titles.
Well-
They look like like fucking iMovie drag and drop.
I like them.
You like them?
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to like die on this hill, but I
Yeah.
like them.
No, I think they look a little cheap.
I like the subtlety of them.
And that is why
I like that it's got duality. It's got it's like,
Duality? What are you
as in
talking
like
about?
it could represent the heartbeat. It could also represent the light under the door that leads into the cupola.
It's giving Prezi report.
I was thinking it's like timeline.
The timeline as well.
Oh, it's like the shooting star.
the shooting star.
I think they should have been more elaborate with it though. Like
Nah, I like the subtlety.
I'm not so keen on the font they use in the movie.
which one?
Boring.
No, which one?
Just the one they use for all the text.
Oh, okay. Do you know what it is?
No, it's just boring.
It's boring.
No, it's like a perfectly fine font. It's just like just like
normal.
What would you have picked for the life of Chuck? What do you think?
papyrus.
Papyrus.
Yeah.
I'd pick papyrus for everything. Honestly, I'm kind of annoyed that we don't have a papyrus version of our logo.
Well, we
I
will
mean,
when we do
you
merch.
could make it.
Yeah, we're gonna make when we make a. I mean, we got merch for our podcast now, but
Yeah.
for the general Pod 1 Hour Studios, we can make one.
So you hinted to criticisms. Are we going to go into thoughts, or should we give some background on this movie first?
Let's get background because we're doing this one slightly different than we did to the other ones.
Yes.
Yeah, so obviously, if you're listening to this, it's 2025. The movie is,
Unless you're listening in the future.
yeah.
Current
which
time is
almost certainly
2025.
you will definitely listen to this in the future
Yeah,
when we're recording
Yeah, you
it.
can't
Unless you're
listen
like
to it,
literally
though.
right here listening to us in this room right now, in which case
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
What about you when you listen to this back? What are you going to be thinking?
What am I going to be thinking?
Hello, Viv in the future.
Hello me. You're so much older. How's death encroaching? Kind of ties into the
It
theme
does
though.
tie into the film theme. But yeah, so this movie, despite the fact that it released almost a full year ago at the Toronto International Film Festival, TIFF, September 6th it aired, and it released June 6th in America. We have only just got it in the UK. It is a whole 3 days old, 4?
It came out on Wednesday, the 20th.
20th, yeah,
August.
4 days old. We did get to see it a bit early, though. We got to see an advanced screening.
Advances, very loose term.
Yeah, they do.
2 days.
Yeah, like a couple of days.
Yeah.
But it's all important.
But obviously, this is very different from the fact that the other two films we have covered
Oh, like
are
basically-
decades old.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is
They're
decades
classics.
old. Yeah.
And there's a lot of history that, we can talk about in hindsight and how they've aged.
Yeah, so we're not going to be talking a ton about the production. We'll talk about like some notes that they
Yeah.
that like Mike Flanagan has dropped here and there on like press junkets.
Yeah.
But I just want to mention watching press junkets for this, horrible. I hate. Yeah, they're unbearable.
They just
There
show
are-
like Mark Hamill just like, oh, here's a Labubu. What do
Yeah.
you think about this?
Yeah, what do you think about this?
And he's just like, oh, I
so
think our country is torn because of Trump.
listen, man, he's like what 70?
Yeah.
Mark Hamill, we'll get into more about
I'd
this
rather-
later.
I'd
I
rather-
think he's a talented actor. He's a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like really annoying, but he's like an annoying liberal. So it's like I guess that could be worse. He could
Yeah.
literally be an
Yeah.
annoying right winger, which is infinitely
Worse,
Yeah,
worse.
yeah, no, that's
See, I like some of the interviews I saw, but I think it's mainly just because of the boy who plays Kid Chuck, Benjamin Pajak.
Yeah.
Pajak, sorry. No, Pajak. I read it right the first time. When everyone's like, how old are you? 13. Cool. What do you think of the end of the world?
I know.
What's your favourite Stephen King novel? How do you think your character would have fared in It with the It kids? And it's just like, I loved it. He's 13.
I know. It's like,
And
listen, it's hard writing questions, especially when like they probably just seen the film.
Also-
so just like, is it not like immoral to put children through that?
Well,
interviews,
yeah.
especially he's only 13. And I will say this is a very much pet peeve, and I think it probably stems from the fact that we all know and love Karen Gillan
Yeah.
as Amy Pond.
Yeah, we're
But America and the wider world knows her as Nebula. And the amount of interviews I saw where it's like, wow, Tom Hiddleston, Karen Gillan.
Loki,
it's
Nebula.
even fucking, Chiwetel...
You were in
Ejiofor.
Venom
Ejiofor.
3.
It's like, yeah, you were in Venom 3. No, he was in Doctor Strange. It's like, oh, we've got all these MCU characters. And it's like, they've all done so
you
much.
could fucking throw a rock and like hit
Hit an
someone who's-
MCU character, yeah.
You could literally look around this room and find someone who's worked in the MCU.
That's actually true.
Wow, spilling the beans, man.
Yeah.
Garen was on set for 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a brief stint working on the set of probably the best MCU movie, I think.
Second best.
Yeah.
It's pretty unanimous, it's the best one.
The
It's-
Marvels and then Black Widow.
And then
Thank you
I
Black
very
worked
much.
on Black Widow.
Oh, if you had worked on the Marvels, we would be
Oh,
gassing
yeah.
you up big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But your work clearly shines on screen
Yes.
Thank you.
for those cutscenes.
For a movie that you've not even seen.
that I haven't even seen.
I've seen it. I spent more time scrolling through the credits trying to find your name than I did.
I only know
watch
one
the movie.
person who says they've seen my name and they didn't take photograph proof.
I really wanted to see it. I
And you've not been able
scrolled
to
through
find
those.
it either, have you?
No, but to be fair, I've only watched the movie once.
Damn,
Oh, no.
that's rough. And you were editing it and everything.
Yeah, I did all the visual effects. So when
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
online saying about that one shot of Florence Pugh, you're actually being mean to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think that's a good shot. Makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the best compliment you could give to a shot.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, just fucking... Look, oh, so you're in the MCU and now you're in this movie. Yeah.
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 You were Captain America, the one who was
You were
experimented on.
the old Captain America.
And it kind of sucks as well, just because like whenever this like a film has like a sort of like a big thing, like it's about
Yeah.
the end of the world, and then they go straight for the, what would you do at the end of the world? And then we're just like, these people are just
Yeah.
acting a story, just like I don't know,
They repeat it like,
what would you
know.
ask actors?
Yeah. It's hard. Like, it's a double-edged sword.
Especially when it's not like
Yeah.
like an old movie they've been in, and just like, oh, how was that on set? Like they could ask that. It's when
Yeah.
they get into the beyond the production where you're just like, should you really be asking? Did they give a fuck? And like fair
Yeah.
play, you can see them trying to, but
Yeah, for me, it's more just the idea of like, I want to learn about the film, the production. I like the stories, especially with this film, where there is some interesting stuff to delve into, like the dancing
Yeah.
and how that was done and the adaptation itself. And, I don't mind the discussion of the end of the world, but also in the lightest way possible. Like, when I found out what the story was about, I was interested. I was like, oh, I didn't realize, like, this was kind of the conceit of it.
yeah.
But it's not just about the end of the world.
Yeah, but that's like,
Like-
the big thing that
Yeah.
gets kind
I
of
think-
latch on.
I do feel for the people marketing this
Yes.
movie, because how do you go
Hard
about
to market.
advertising this?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't feel like we see a lot of movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've seen the trailer
We'll-
for this
yeah.
so much.
We
Yeah.
have.
It sells a different movie to what it actually is.
It's going
Yeah.
for
in some
like
ways.
the only thing it's selling is that it's very emotional.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would say that is true. They don't reveal anything plot wise.
No, you just know it's about Chuck and like it's about his life.
It's about a guy-
Again, the title of its life is Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best Stephen King film ever made, which is a bold thing to put in your trailer.
Yeah.
Very bold.
You could put that in front of any of them and I'm going to be like, is it though?
I'm like that with any grand statement. I've had this conversation with you Viv loads of times about horror movies. If I see a horror movie trailer say the scariest movie, even if it's just of the year,
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is going to be shit.
Yeah.
And granted, sometimes it's not. Most of the
I
time
saw
it
in
is.
front of that fucking dog horror movie trailer.
I know, and it's like, why are you trying to like? I'm
It's setting up to bring it
excited
down.
for Good Boy.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun, interesting time for a title, like concept for a movie about like a dog in a haunted house. I like that perspective. Don't market that as it's gonna be the scariest movie
It's gonna be
ever.
the fucking big you shit your pants,
Look,
man.
if I want to see a dog in a haunted house, I'll fucking watch Scooby Doo.
Also, I want that dog to die. I love dogs, but it's the same as kids in horror movies.
Coco just looked at you.
Yeah, he fucking should. His days are numbered.
Kill him and kill children in movies.
Kill
That's why
children in
Mike
movies.
rules.
Yeah, looking at this little kid in Life of Chuck with his huge glasses and his cute ass bow tie,
Honestly-
and you'd be like, he's gonna bite the dust in
Honestly, I
30
think Mike
years.
Flanagan really wanted to do this because he could actually kill a child before they were even born.
He loves killing kids. And
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
It's necessary.
So this movie was written and directed by our good friend Mike,
Our best friend Mike.
our best friend Mike,
Bezzy.
Bezzy Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was independently produced, with the producer being Trevor McKay, and it began filming.
The producer was
2020?
who, sorry?
Trevor McKay.
Is that how it's pronounced?
How do
Oh,
you-
Macy.
I thought it was Macy.
It is Macy.
Okay. I was confused because I got to hear Trevor Macy and I was just like, what did you just say?
I'm really sorry. Yeah, it's fully spelt Macy as well. I just kind of read it phonetically in my head.
Yeah.
And just, English is not a good language to read phonetically.
I'm raw dogging this episode.
Yeah.
I'm just putting out my feet. I got Letterboxd open up behind me in case I want
Yeah.
to reference specific ones. But yeah.
Yeah. So Trevor
Macy.
Macy.
Yes.
He's got the production company Intrepid Pictures, and Red Room Pictures is Mike Flanagan's,
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not sure if this is correct. Please tell me if I'm wrong. He's produced all of Mike Flanagan's films, or pretty much most of them.
I believe so.
I don't know if they've worked on the TV series, but definitely the movies.
I believe that's correct. Yeah, like Gerald's Game, Oculus, Hush, Before I Wake, The Lie by Man, which was not Mike Flanagan, but is a good movie. Doctor Sleep, yeah. As far as I can see, yes.
Shelby Oaks.
So
Shelby Oaks is there, yeah.
Yeah, so the longtime producer.
Yeah, they're buddies.
Yeah, very long time producer. Well, that's the thing with Mike Flanagan, and we'll talk about this throughout this episode, is how he has close connections to a lot of people in the industry that he likes to keep up with.
Yeah.
Actors, musicians, and the music in this movie, which I love, was done by
Yeah, it was great.
the
Newton Brothers.
Yes, the Newton Brothers, and
Famous
they
for-
did the music for Hill House, Bly Manor.
I was going to say Five Nights at Freddy's.
They did do the music for Five Nights at Freddy's
And
as well.
X-Men 97.
Well, by,
Yeah. The reason, well, not just the reason, but this film was made, or at least began being made in October 2023 during the SAG-AFTRA strike. If
Yeah,
you
yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was an independent movie meant that they could continue production without being halted by the strike. And I just found that really interesting, just because I remember keeping up to date on a lot of the strike stuff
Yeah.
as it was happening.
Yeah, the strikes did wonders, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
But I'm sidetracking.
No,
Who's it that got outed for like scabbing during the writer's strike?
Someone got outed.
What's his name? Was it like Park Chan Wook or something?
He got outed?
Yeah, he got like kicked out of the Writers Guild.
Oh,
Really?
damn.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, he had like a series out or something at the time, didn't he?
I don't know if it was Park Chan Wook.
No, I feel as though you're right. It was either... Yeah, I think it was him.
It was the series with Robert Downey Jr. in.
Yeah, that's the Park Chan-wook one.
It was Park Chan Wook.
Yeah. Park Chan-wook on WGA
On this
Expulsion.
podcast, we call out scabbers.
Yeah, don't violate strikes. Don't be a scout.
Yeah.
Join a union.
Join a union. We
Yeah.
love
Is there
unions.
a union for podcasters? Mike Flanagan does bring back a lot of people he's worked with in the past in the cast of this.
He does loads.
Now, I kind of want to pass this to you because
Yes.
you know more about Mike Flanagan's body
Wait, before
work
we do
than
that, how many
myself.
of Mike Flanagan's stuff have you actually seen?
So I've seen 2 of his films.
Which ones?
Oculus
Yes.
Good movie.
and Gerald's Game.
Okay.
Fantastic movie.
Oh yeah, because we were talking about this yesterday. You haven't seen Doctor Sleep, which we're going to. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen Doctor Sleep. Just for the record, we are going to be covering that in a few weeks' time.
Yes, we are.
A few weeks.
It's gonna be our last
By the end of the
episode.
year.
It's gonna be our last episode.
Last
Of
episode
the
of the year
season,
will be
yeah.
Doctor
Yeah, yeah.
Sleep. Yeah.
Yes.
But and you've seen his series, right?
No,
None of them?
Really?
I've not seen any of his series.
That's
Interesting.
wild.
I've not seen Hill House. I haven't seen Blind Manor.
Really?
House of Usher.
Yeah, House of Usher, Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass. I
Wow.
haven't seen
Oof.
Midnight Mass.
Oh, we should
Posh-
host a Midnight Mass watch party. I rewatch it every Halloween. We should before your surgery. We should watch Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
Meg can come over. She loves it. We can because it's basically his series are basically 8-hour movies, and I know that's easy to say, but
Yeah.
they really are.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome.
No, it does seem like something I'd like, but
Yeah.
it's on Netflix, which is a platform I hate.
Yeah. He hates as well, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, he's released some of his stuff on DVD. His Netflix.
I
stuff.
think he's
But he
fighting to release more.
I really hope he
but-
releases Midnight Mass. I would just love
Yeah,
to have that.
I've
and not
got,
have to get a fucking Netflix subscription.
Because obviously, Hill House and Bly Manor were released pretty early on, and one of the reasons he not the main reason, but one of the reasons he fought with Netflix is over physical releasing of media, because those got released and then they wouldn't release his other ones. But he did recently, this year, release Hush in a big collector's edition, and that was a Netflix movie. So I think he's continuing to fight for his right to have them published.
But general thoughts?
On Life of Chuck.
I know. Do you want to give yours? Because you're like.
Well, I was going to say, before we go on to the general thoughts of the movie, should we
No,
talk
not
about,
the movie. I meant of
Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan's work.
I think it's safe to say, he's one of my favorite creators.
Yeah.
I've watched all of his series. I actually haven't watched all of his films. There's one or two I've missed.
I
but
haven't
will
seen his
watch.
really, really early films.
Yeah,
so-
those are the ones I've missed, but I'd love to watch them. I was a fan of Mike Flanagan, before I even knew who he was. I think the first film I watched that he made was Oculus, because I love Karen Gillan. And I really liked that movie. And then I actually didn't see Hill House when it came out. It wasn't until Bly Manor came out that he was then on my radar again. And that actually, I think I'd watched Hush before that as well.
Yeah.
Because I watched Hush when it came out and also loved that. And
we actually talked about it in a video.
Yes, we did in one of my YouTube videos, Fear. So I just love Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
I love everything he does. I love what he chooses to adapt. I think he has a real eye for not just horror, but like Stephen King in a way, not just horror, but characters.
Yeah. He really understands the key to good horror. It's
Yes, exactly.
well-rounded characters.
I'm a
stuff, yeah.
big defender of all his series, even the ones they considered weaker. Midnight Mass is my favorite. But even ones like The Midnight Club, which is kind of considered to be his weakest, and I probably agree as well. I think that should have been given more time. It unfortunately got cancelled by Netflix because, of course, it
course.
did. And
Didn't get enough new subscribers for that quarter.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck you, Mike. Why do you do this to us?
Yeah, I love Mike Flanagan. I think he's... I don't like Saint Genius, but his work means a lot to me.
Yeah.
It's something...
So
I've rewatched all of his
so the
series
stakes were pretty
multiple
high
times. Yes.
for going into this.
And I saw your hand go up.
I think he's fine.
Yeah.
He's not made prior to Life of Chuck. He's not made anything that I've really had any strong opinions for. Obviously, I don't want to give my hand away with Gerald's Game because we are probably going to get onto that at some point with it being a Stephen King adaptation. But Oculus is an okay horror movie that I don't tend to think about a lot after I've seen it. But I like Karen Gillan.
Yeah.
That's why I watched it originally as well.
Yeah.
We're very big on Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It's not
obviously.
just we don't just have a thing for her. But if you're listening, Karen,
Yeah, honestly.
yeah,
Can't
come
go,
on,
please.
I am single.
So am I. And I'm willing
He's
to
having a
convert for
child.
it.
She's married
She's
as well.
married and having a baby.
Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a little polyamory.
Yeah. Viv, what's your relationship with Mike Flanagan?
I really like his stuff. It's quite similar
Yeah.
to yours. I wouldn't say I'm as big as a fan, but I'm excited whenever his new projects come out.
Yeah.
I love Midnight Mass. I think it's great. I really like Haunting of Hill House. I haven't seen Bly Manor.
Yeah.
I haven't seen House of Usher. I've seen most of his movies. I was really scared about Doctor Sleep, and then I came away with being like, all right.
Yeah.
I do remember because we saw The Shining in the cinema like shortly before Doctor Sleep came out.
Yeah.
And I remember us talking about how we were nervous about them making a prequel too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like an almost impossible task. And yet I somehow, it's honestly a miracle I came out of that being like, oh, that was pretty good.
Did you see it in the cinemas?
Yeah.
We did, yeah.
Yeah,
we saw it together.
Ah,
I'm really interested to revisit that.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, by saying that, I will gas up Mike Flanagan. I think, in my opinion, he deserves it,
I
at
will
least
blow
from
up
what
his
he made
butthole.
for me. Yes. However, I will say, he almost, in my head, he's not almost like kind of an individual, because like you said, he reuses a lot of actors.
It's like
he
his
has a
troupe,
tight
the
circle.
Mike Flanagan troupe.
Yeah. So I can praise his directing and style as much as I'd like to, because I genuinely do love it. However, I do think a lot of his work is extremely elevated by the cast and the crew as well.
Yeah, they've all said, like, of every interview and all the press junket stuff I've said, they've all been like gassing him up, being like, yeah, he's really great on set. He makes
Yeah.
everyone feel comfortable, and he's clearly really good to work with because he keeps working with the same people
and obviously
Yeah.
we would agree because he's our close personal friend.
Yeah, yeah.
He is our close personal friend.
who answers our messages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sitting on that.
yeah.
Wait.
Wait, go on, say
No,
say
no.
the line, Bart.
I forgot my line. We'll get to that. Anyway, so so we kind of got a teeny bit sidetracked. But yeah, because you were saying about actors.
Yeah.
So I want to shout out someone, Corrupted Mind 341 on the Haunting of Hill House subreddit, who 10 months ago posted, my friend made a Google sheet of all Mike Flanagan recurring actors, which is I'll just show you like a screenshot snippet, which has like all of his recurring
goddamn.
actors in like this
Oh, wow.
spreadsheet, and it is updated for Life of Chuck. So that really helped like actually just go through the list and see who
Put
was
names
what.
to names.
Does it also
Yeah.
include actors who've been cast in Carrie? Because I know Matthew Lillard is in that.
It
Matthew Lillard
hasn't
is-
yet.
Oh, who's that Matthew Lillard playing?
He's playing the
Principal.
principal.
Is he?
Which I think is a good role.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
He also
Not
played
jump ahead,
Shaggy in
but
Scooby-Doo.
I love Matthew Lillard. in
Oh
this
yes,
film.
I love him.
I love his lines in this.
Yes.
I think he did a great job.
I like seeing Matthew Lillard in
Yeah.
films.
Well, on my list, I included Matthew Lillard, and I did put like the Mike Flanagan alumni, and I included Matthew Lillard because I know like in advance he is kind of. But yeah, we got loads. We got Jacob Tremblay, who plays 17-year-old Chuck. Karen Gillan, obviously, we've already spoke about. Mark Hamill, he was in Fall of the House of Usher,
Among other things.
among other things. But it's like
The roller skater girl. She
Roller
was
Skater
in
Girl, yes,
something?
she is in Hill House.
and more importantly,
Megan.
Absolutely.
And again, Megan 2.0.
Megan 2.0.
Yeah.
Did I turn to you or did you turn to me to say? Oh, did we do it at the
I
same
think
time?
we did it. I think we did it. at the
It
same
threw me
time.
off when we watched it because obviously we'd just seen Megan 2, where she's clearly older than she is in Life of
Yeah,
Chuck.
because it would have been 2013, and what was Megan 2 filmed in 2024?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
There was a big gap, the 2-year gap, and she is a kid, so she aged
They
quite
grow
quickly.
up so fast.
Yeah, we got Kate Siegel, who is obviously his wife and is in a lot of his films. She's fab.
Oh, just so quickly to say,
Rahul
it was-
Kohli?
Rahul Kohli, he's in Haunting of Bly Manor, and as well as The Fall of the House of Usher. Sorry, Viv, what were you going
No,
to
no, I
say?
was just going to talk about his and his Mike Flanagan's relationship.
No,
There was just
yeah.
like a ton of interviews where they spoke
They-
about how
yeah.
their like relationship and their work relationship sort of like converge a lot of times.
Yeah,
quite
it's really
interesting.
it is really interesting. I think they've got real charm and charisma about them as a couple and how
I
they
really
present
hope it doesn't
themselves.
get revealed that one of them is like an absolute psychopath. I'm
Hopefully
they,
not.
They seem nice.
Yeah, they seem nice from it. And to be honest, I love that from what we've watched, obviously I won't spoil any of his other stuff, but I love the amount of times we've watched things and been like, I can't believe he made his wife do that.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. I'm thinking specifically the Midnight Mass one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So we got Annalise Basso, who plays Janice
Yeah.
Halliday, who's dancing in this.
She's young Karen Gillan.
Yes,
in
she is.
Yes.
She is. That was a surprise because she did look familiar, but obviously that was like
Yo, it's
a
Karen
decade ago.
Gillan.
Oh.
No, it isn't. Wait.
It was young Amy Pond from
Yeah,
Doctor Who.
your cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Samantha Slayan, who plays the dance teacher, who is in Midnight Mass
She
as
is.
Beverly. Fantastic in Midnight Mass. Fantastic in The Fall of the House of Usher. Nice to see her play a kind character.
Yeah, honestly,
and not
going
a
against
psychopath.
type. Going against
She's
type.
she's not going to be keeping that up though.
Is she?
I think
Oh,
Carrie
she's playing Carrie's mother, isn't she?
She will
I'm
do.
so excited
She
for
will
that.
do an incredible job.
Yeah.
She was one of my favorite performances in this.
She
great.
plays, honestly, when you watch Midnight Mass, we will be gassing her up so much because she is
Is
incredible at a
she
villain.
Mother?
No, not
Is
in
she
the
a
literal
queen?
sense. She's mother in the biblical sense. Let's say this.
She's Mary.
She's but no, she is Mother. Yes, and then we go through all of them. Raoul Coley we've mentioned. Heather Langenkamp, obviously of a horror movie fame, but she was also in The Midnight Club.
What else has she been in?
She
Elm
was
Street.
in Elm Street. She's Nancy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
yeah. I know it's obviously big gap because we recently rewatched a lot of the
Yeah.
Elm Street films, but obviously those were like decades old as well. So
Wait.
she
what?
plays the gossiping. She plays the gossiping woman,
Vera.
Vera, who's
The neighbor who Chuck takes the cookies to.
yeah, and she gossips.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
Heather Langenkamp,
That went
yeah.
right over me.
Yeah.
To be fair, when I saw her name in the credits, I was like, "Oh, who did she play?" And then I looked when I got
Yeah.
home.
I was looking at it. It was just like, what do you look familiar? Fuck me. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really good. We also got Michael Trousseau, who just plays a parent, one of the parents in the parent-teacher conferences. Mm-hmm. He plays a lot of like side characters in Mike Flanagan stuff.
There's also the guy at the morning scene, the bald guy. Who's that?
Oh yeah, I haven't got to him yet. He's at the bottom of my list. I'm dead serious. Mike Flanagan is in cameos in this movie. Obviously, if you want to count him, he's fully at the bottom of the list to go through. And we got Sarian Sapkota, who is in Midnight Club as well as The Fall of the House of Usher, who just plays one of the students. Mm-hmm. So even the side characters, Matt Bedell, who plays one of the doctors, even the side characters who get like 2 seconds screen time, Mike Flanagan just phones up actors he's already worked with.
Yeah.
And I just really like that.
Kind of makes sense. He's going to the DCU to make movies with James Gunn, who does exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's like kind of a good sign though that like the same sort of actors and crew want to work here. I don't know. It just kind of goes to show
Yeah.
that yeah.
Positive experience.
Yeah.
You know.
But also, there's a good mix of talent who haven't worked with Mike Flanagan before. Obviously, Tom Hiddleston.
Yes.
Yes.
Of
Should
Loki
we-
fame.
And
Oh,
like,
that's where I know him from.
No, deadass. When I was watching those interviews, I don't know what it is, but I forgot he was Loki.
yeah.
They were like, obviously Cargill, like MCU alum. I was like, oh yeah, she's Nebula. Oh yeah, he's in Doctor Strange. I remember that. He's in Captain America. It's like, and you're Loki. It's like, what?
I know, that shocked me too. And it's not even like he's been in anything massive since then.
No.
But I just like, I think I've just seen him, is it?
He was in Kong Skull Island.
Of course.
Oh, it was something, there must have been something.
Well, it's weird because I definitely knew him as something before Loki. What was he in before? Tom Hiddleston.
He was in an episode of Casualty.
Because obviously
That's awesome.
we're British and he's British, so we must know him from somewhere.
Yeah,
Tom Hiddleston.
we see him
He's
in
in
Tesco.
Warhorse.
We see him in Tesco, yeah. Crimson Peak, we've seen him in.
Oh yeah,
That's
he's
a good
great in
movie.
that. Yeah, but he's just like he's just
Muppets.
Yeah, it's weird for someone like Tom Hiddleston, who he's always like one of, if not the best thing about the Marvel project
Yes.
he
Yeah.
appears in. He hasn't really done a great deal outside of it, at least
Yeah.
on film.
He has
So I know
done a
he's
lot
done
of
stage.
He has done a lot of theatre stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was in the Henry V trilogy for Shakespeare.
He was in an episode of
Stage
Family
things.
Guy.
Was
Was
he?
he?
Yeah.
Did he
Damn.
play himself?
No.
Oh, interesting. Who did he play?
A guy in a painting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah, you're right. There's other actors as well.
Yeah,
Obviously,
Chiwetel
we've got-
Ejiofor.
But yeah, he's
he's never.
he was in. Was he?
12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, he was in 12 Years a Slave.
Children of Men.
I was
We saw him in.
I was going to make a joke. Oh, he's in Romeo and Juliet. I was going to make a joke that's like obviously actor winner, thinking
yeah.
you were going to say 12 Years a Slave, but I forgot what movie I was going to say. So I was going to be like, no, actually, silly.
We could do
It's
that again
Romeo
if
and
you want.
Juliet. No, it's fine.
Okay.
I don't want to lie. Then we got also Nick Offerman, who just plays the narrator. Mia Sarah, who I didn't recognize from anything, but apparently she took a huge break from acting
Yeah.
and just came back for this.
Ferris Bueller's Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful performance.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if we're on the topic of Ferris Bueller, I just want to say that Matthew Broderick did murder 2 women in Ireland back in the 80s.
Just needed to get it out there. Yeah, fair
I
enough.
feel like we don't acknowledge it enough as a society.
That's fair enough.
What would you have me do to Matthew Broderick?
Have you ever heard of the Brazen Bull?
What's the Brazen Bull?
Stick him in that. It's a bull. It's a metal
Oh, is
bull.
that the one where you melt him?
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty sick.
You ever heard of melting movies?
melting movies.
Yeah.
Did you see people get melted?
Is
No,
this
it's-
like a fetish?
It's not a fetish. Oh, well, it could be. But no, it's like where people melt. Like that.
Wow, how could I ever guess?
Like some people consider like The Blob like a melting movie because people like melt in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I get it. I didn't
I
know
don't
it was
know
like a whole subgenre.
Yeah, no, it's like
Yeah.
a whole subgenre. I'm surprised. It seems like your kind of thing because
Yeah.
you like are known for your melting fetish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I honestly.
Honestly, you see like an ice cream going down someone's hand and you just like go, "Ugh." I'm sorry, man.
Speaking
I'm
of-
just going to say my life was changed
I know so
in
many
2006 when I watched Love and Monsters and
Oh,
turned into the
jeez.
paving
Yeah.
ways. Yeah, that's like a melting movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of melting fetishes, I missed one of the Mike Flanagan's alumni as well.
Oh, yeah?
His son is in this movie.
He is.
Cody Flanagan.
Yeah, nepotism at its
Nepotism.
finest.
Yeah, for 2 seconds.
I thought when I
Bullshit.
read that on IMDb, I thought he was Jacob.
Jacob Tremblay. Older Chuck.
Yeah, middle
Chuck. Well, there's 4 Chucks. We got Tom Hiddleston. Jacob Tremblay is teenage Chuck, the one who gets the final line.
Oh no. The one before.
Benjamin
Benjamin
Pajak
I thought
is
it
the
was-
main kid.
Yeah, I
Chuck
thought it
we
was
see.
Benjamin. I thought
That
was
would
like,
have been pushing it a bit
I
if
know
that was
because
his
like
son.
that is the majority of the film.
Yeah, no.
That is a big-
Cody Flanagan is, you see him for 2 seconds, he's the Chuck that's playing with the trains.
Yeah.
Well, yes. And, when we refer to Chuck throughout his life, we'll probably talk about the actor, because there are 4 different versions
Yeah.
of him. But yeah, sorry, Garen, what were we going to say?
No, I was going to say, going through a lot of the research on this, a lot of people mentioned about how much Chuck likes toy trains, and I'm just like, was it really that big a thing?
Yeah.
It really wasn't that
It
big
wasn't,
a thing.
really.
But they brought it
No.
up in so many of like the interviews and like the descriptions of the movie I saw, and I was just like, why are we focusing
They're trying to
on this?
diagnose him. with
Especially
autism.
considering he clearly has very strong interests in dancing
Yeah.
and musicals and stuff like that.
We can't talk about that. We got to talk about the trains that
Yeah.
you clearly have in one scene.
So if we're going to go with the story, I think we better start where all stories do.
At the
At
end.
the end. Or,
I've seen people bitch about this structure and that it's hacky, and I know this is part of like the original
Yeah.
story, so we can't blame our friend Michael. Instead, we got to blame our friend Stephen
Yeah.
for this.
so can I can shine a light on this. Garen, I don't know if you can, because I'm not sure if your version of the book, because you have the If It's Bleaks collection, whereas I read it in, both individually on the Kindle version, and I own the individually recently published standalone novelization of the short story. So does yours have the introduction?
It does not. This is
Right.
the original publication from
Yes.
the 21st of April 2020. This was a
There we go.
COVID release.
It was a COVID release. This is a COVID movie and a COVID story if I've ever seen one,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I really got into this.
Oh, yeah, because you had COVID
I
last
recently
week.
got COVID again, which
Damn,
is horrible.
so
but I'm
late.
fine now.
Yeah.
It's like, goddamn, man, that was like so 2020.
I know. I
was really
I
weird.
told you, and you just laughed.
It was a little weird, though, because me and Viv also just went to Reading, so when you said about, like, you having COVID, because we hung out, and then the day later you found out you had it, it was kind of weird just to be back in that mindset of, like, oh, shit, I hope we don't get COVID.
Yeah, because that would suck ass. Those tickets
Yeah.
were expensive, man.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
We didn't. We somehow managed to dodge
Chapel
it.
Roan.
Yeah, Chapel
Yeah.
Roan.
We saw Chapel Roan. We asked her what she thought of Life of Chuck, and she was like, God, what have you done? You're a pink pony. I went way too high. I can't say.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. It feels weird because we recorded the Shawshank episode
Yeah.
the day after we went to see Life of Chuck,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then the day after, I went to Edinburgh, and that's where I must have caught the COVID when I came.
You
back.
got it off Oasis.
I got it off
Damn.
Oasis.
Honestly, if an Oasis concert is like the prime place to spread disease, I don't even dislike Oasis that much. For the record, I would have made the same joke no matter who it was.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it's
What if
fine,
it was
yeah.
me making that joke and Bryce just swapped Oasis out with Chapel Roan?
But that would have been like sexist and homophobic.
Yeah,
for you.
whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah. I got COVID. So I was just sort of ill until a few days ago, and time just feels very weird.
Yeah.
It's very befitting that I've read this book in that space and it was made in COVID.
Oh
and-
yeah, actually that's a good point. This is so. This is the first episode where I'm not the only person who has read it.
I purposely chose not to read because I don't want my opinion tarnished by a book.
Fair.
I do want to give some... I want to give the reason why I read this one.
Yes, go for it.
which I think just generally brings us to general thoughts.
Yes.
So we all watched this together,
Yeah.
Yes.
and I remembered right after the movie ended, I had no opinion. I didn't know if I liked it. I didn't know if I disliked it.
Yes.
I was genuinely
And I just want to express.
dumbfounded.
I just want to express how not normal that is. You come
Yeah. Garen is famous for the second a film finishes giving it a star rating on Letterboxd. So
like, you're pretty quick to like understand your opinions on stuff. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was quite interesting.
I genuinely find I know how I feel about a piece of media when I'm consuming it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty veterans
It's-
of this shit now.
It's very infrequent that I come across something and I just don't know what to make of it, because there were things that I liked in the movie. There was things I didn't like in the movie, and I was like, I think I turned to you and just like, I
Yeah.
need to read the book before I say anything
Yeah.
like this.
so
Do you think also having to actually like express your opinion on a long form podcast maybe influence that as well?
Potentially, yeah. I was hoping that the book would kind of give me some more, not necessarily change my opinion.
Give you some clarity on your
Yeah.
already
Yeah,
existing
just sort of
opinion?
like rationalize where I stand with
Yeah.
the story.
that's fair. I think it's valid to give yourself time. Viv and I recently spoke on a drive back from Reading, because it was quite late, about media analysis, specifically since, starting podcasts and me being on YouTube and stuff, and how, sometimes it's not as easy as thing good, thing bad, and you do need to sort of delve into your thoughts. I mean, my opinion on this is varied. I'm pretty concrete in my opinion now. Obviously, I've been sitting on it a little bit.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to say, if anyone ends up binging these episodes or just has a good memory, in our very first episode, I said I will not be reading Life of Chuck before we see the film. I lied. I did read it before we saw the film.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I'm going to read Stephen King's introduction, and it grabbed me, and I was like, no, I'm just going to read the whole thing. So I read the book, the short story. I read the short story, watched the film. I had an opinion. Then I read the short story again and watched the film again. And now my opinion is
That's
expanded.
a hell of a Life of Chuck sandwich.
Honestly. I would love to, before we get into the plot as a whole, obviously we're on general thoughts now, I do want to talk about the Stephen King introduction, because I think it's really interesting. But before that, Viv, you obviously said you didn't read the book.
I didn't read the book.
You've watched the film.
I've watched the film.
How many times have you watched the film?
I've watched it twice.
There we go.
I watched it when we saw it at the cinema. We were going to go see it in the cinemas again just because
Yeah, I wanted
but-
to, but didn't have time.
Yeah, we didn't have time, so I just watched it in my own home.
Yeah.
But I've got my opinion's pretty concrete at this point.
That's good. So, shall I...
Yeah, go on.
Let's go through the introduction, and then
go
we
for
can
it.
actually reveal our opinions
Yeah.
rather than dancing around it. So,
Ah!
yeah, it was an accident. Because I think it's just interesting to hear from the man himself where this idea come from, especially with talk about, before we reveal how we feel, talk about what people saying about the structure and it being kind of hacky and stuff like that. So I've basically condensed the introduction. I've condensed what Stephen King has said to share with you, and if you keep the whole thing, that's fine. If you cut it together, that's fine as well. So it's in first person because I just wrote it. So imagine I'm Stephen King.
Do a Stephen King impression.
Stephen King. I don't know. The last time I've heard his voice was in fucking It Chapter 2 when he was like,
Can you do a Stephen King impression?
"Hello,
I
I'm
did a
Stephen.
lot of drugs.
Hello, I'm
back
Stephen King.
in the 80s.
I'm Stephen King.
I'm Stephen King. I live in Treorchy."
Oh, well, Stephen King.
One day on a morning walk, I was musing on an African... Okay, I won't do it. One day on a morning walk, I was musing on an African proverb. When an old man dies, a library burns down. Possibly because I myself am getting on in my age. This led me to think about Walt Whitman's Song of Myself and the line, "I am large, I contain multitudes." I thought, what if it isn't a library that burns down? What if it's a whole world? And that led to Stephen King writing Act 3 of Life of Chuck. Except at the time, it wasn't Act 3. That was the short story in itself. It was just that part. Then, about a month or so later, Stephen King says, I passed a busker while walking by, and I thought, what if some random businessman stopped and began to dance? And what if that man was Chuck Krantz, with his brain tumour just beginning? And he started to see this theme coming together of the joy of life in the shadow of death, and having, what was then Act 3 and Act 2, Stephen King realized, well, I've got to go back even further, because, it's clear that the way he's writing it, it's not that he wrote it in order and then swapped it around. He wrote it in reverse order, just in his writing, just by the fact that that's where his ideas took him. So that led to him writing Act 1, where the main goal of it was for King to show that Chuck was going to know that he was going to die. Because, Stephen King says, we all do. We might not acknowledge it much, but that's the elephant in the room. We all know we're going to die. So he really liked that concept of having that character, starting with his death, having the whole universe around him fade away because of his death, and sort of building almost to an anticlimax in the way, of the sense of, oh, he knew this whole time he was going to die. Well, yeah, of course he did. He never knew how old he was when he died. It even makes a point in the book of saying he couldn't tell how old he was, and when he sees himself in the bed.
Not to jump to any sort of analysis to it, that would be like, I don't take that ending literally.
Well, the
viewing the corpse,
fair.
Viewing your body later on. I don't take
that's
that
fair.
literally.
That'd be really interesting to discuss. But anyway, that's what his point was in that of having Chuck know that he was going to die. And then King ends just by saying that the fact that the story was written was a miracle, and the fact that it was made into a film was also a miracle, and the film itself is a special little gem.
Absolutely.
So that's Stephen King's thoughts on the film and the whole concept. So so obviously the structure of this is interesting. I was really curious about how Mike Flanagan would tackle it, especially because we'd seen the trailer so many times before I'd read it. So I didn't realize it was going to be going in reverse structure. Because honestly, you could put this film in chronological order.
It would be a fucking downer.
It would be, it would be, that I just think that it elevates it going backwards. That's my personal thoughts.
No, the criticism I saw of it was just the whole, the world ending, but then it being obviously revealed that it's from someone's perspective. They're dying and their world isn't. And it constantly being referred back to it. I don't agree with this criticism. I just saw it a couple of times.
Yeah, fair.
Like it being a first time writer's idea of messing with structure. I think it's more nuanced than that. However, I did see that criticism.
I think so as well.
So with that introduction, do we kind of want to go around and say what we think?
Okay.
Yes. What do you think, Viv?
Me?
Yeah, as someone who's just watched the film.
Again, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed it the first time I watched it, and that's just sort of stuck with me. It's there were parts of it where I was just thinking, does this specifically the structure, does this is this super necessary? However, I think it's a good hook. And I do think it works thematically quite well in a lot of ways beyond the initial it's more life affirming to go from death and then obviously just go back to the beginning. I like kind of stories which sort of talk about no regression in terms of but it is kind of regression though, regress into a more childlike sort of state, which sort of makes sense in terms of contextually as well, because it obviously Chuck is he's dying, he's his mind is decaying, he's looking back on it, but in a more sort of spiritual way, just returning back to a child form. I think that was really beautiful. Also, I fucking love dancing in movies. It's any sort of chance I get to see dancing in films. I love MGM musicals, which are a couple of homages. I think they're a dead art. Yeah. But any sort of homage, where how little it is, I think it's just wonderful. And yeah. And I feel as though Mike really understands how to capture dance, because it is a very specific art.
It is
a really difficult to capture. And it is it's it's a small part of the film. It's not all about dancing, but in a way it is.
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, should we, before me and Garen say our thoughts then, shout out Mandy Moore the
Yes.
choreographer, who
The actress?
No. Is she also an actress? Or is it
There's
two
a-
different
yeah, it's an
persons?
actress.
Oh no, the choreographer. She's choreographed loads of things.
She did La La Land.
La La Land,
Yeah,
yes.
famously. That
fantastic
sort of
film.
like that sort of dance style,
Yeah.
which I know some people are criticizing. It's just like, oh, it's like sort of simple. But I think they're just sort of trying to constantly play with these people aren't professional dancers in the context of it, and it's not
No.
like heightened to the.
It's
to, like,
dancing you could realistically do.
Yeah. And it's not like heightened to. Like the MGM musicals, which is just like these are just professional dancers at
Yes.
literally the height of the genre.
Yeah.
They're never going to be able to recreate that.
Well, no,
but
and
just seeing
it's-
like small moments like that
Yeah.
on screen, which is absolutely fantastic.
Well, it's clear, and I think Mandy Moore has an act for that, because when you see the other things she's directed, like the Eras tour, where the dancing's obviously very much in the background,
Yeah.
talking about the actual dancers now, not Taylor Swift doing her bendovers poses. She also choreographed Glee, a lot of Glee episodes, which I find really interesting because
here we go.
yeah, well, mainly just because Glee has a very rough history with choreography, with half the cast not being able to dance and that being very obvious. But in that case, her style works with that.
But yeah, going.
But yeah,
to
Mandy Moore.
Yeah, she does have like a talent of like bringing dance into like sort of these kinds of stories. I know some people sort of criticizing it and just being like, oh, why can't they just be like more like the classic musicals where they just go full out for it?
Yeah.
And, but they obviously. Turns out just a lot of audiences these days just fucking hate musicals.
Yeah.
And they
Genuinely.
hate the art of dancing, and I think it's a real shame. So I'm just happy to have any sort of glimpse into it.
Yeah.
Also, I don't want to go into a full analysis of the film because we'll go on to it at certain points. But also, I was just kind of trepidatious because, like, speaking about on the Shawshank episode, schmaltz
Yes.
done poorly infuriates
And
me.
the trailer is very schmaltzy, more
Yeah.
schmaltzy than the film itself.
Yeah, and I'm not a hard ass a lot of the time when it comes to it, but when things are just being sold as just like it's super emotional, you'll cry hard out. Right, that's not for you. That's not for you to decide.
Don't tell me how to feel.
Don't tell me how to.
Well, it goes
fucking
back
feel.
to the whole advertising thing of like scariest movie ever. It's
Yeah,
like,
so I was
don't
like-
tell me what to feel about this.
Yeah, and there are certain points where I'm just like, all right, you can tone it back a little bit. I'm feeling these things. I don't need to be amplified by.
Yeah.
Say.
I don't want to have to go in with the forced feeling that I've got to be emotionally moved.
Yeah.
Well, I have a thing with films, and I don't think this film does it. If it did, it managed to go under my radar. But I have this thing with films where a scene will start out quiet of characters talking, and honestly, this film could have done this. Because it's usually like over a monologue, and you hear like the music slowly fade in.
Yeah.
I know Scribes is like, "Oh, you want me to feel emotional," and I'm an emotional person.
It's like those Family Guy bits where they slowly zoom in.
I'm an emotional person, especially when it comes to
Yeah,
media.
no, I am
so
as
when,
well.
So I can tell when it's almost pandering versus.
It's a real
earnest.
skill to to feel like you're not being manipulated, because like film is just manipulating you to feel these emotions a lot of the time.
You don't know. You don't know what's going to make you cry. I don't think you expected to cry when we went in to watch.
I cried at this. Not when we saw it the first time. When I was alone, I cried.
I cried more second time as well. I just think the build
at Life of Chuck?
At Life
Yes.
of Chuck, yes.
Okay.
We'll talk about what bits we cried at later on.
Yeah,
we?
sure.
Yeah, that's when we get to them.
But although it doesn't work 100% of the time, it did obviously kind of work for me.
Generally quite positive then.
Yes.
That's lovely.
I don't think it's perfect though.
That's fair.
Like anything, but
Yeah, I think it's fair to say
we'll
this isn't
get into
perfect.
specifics later on.
Yeah. What about you, Garen? Have you settled on a thought
I
now?
think I have settled on my thought. I think the reason why I was so unsure what to make of my opinions was because there's a lot in the movie that I like. There's a lot in the movie I don't like. I don't think this movie was for me.
Really?
It's got some good craft and I can appreciate that, but fundamentally it just didn't strike the chord with me that I think it was going for. And that's not to say that I think it's a bad movie. It just didn't work for me.
Interesting. Can't wait to get into it.
And I do feel that the book, even though the film is pretty much the book verbatim with a few added scenes, like one scene removed, I do feel like the book worked better.
Interesting.
And I preferred reading the book than I did watching the film.
That's really interesting. I'm really excited to talk about that specifically then.
Yeah. And I was kind of hoping, because I'd never want to go into a film and like have a poor experience. I want everything I go to see to be the best.
I disagree. I think you go into things wanting to hate them.
Elaborate?
No.
Example.
I'll elaborate. No, I'm joking. I can't remember what episode of Doctor Who it was. It might have been near the finale or something, of the most recent season. And I think I remember saying, I can't remember if I said it to you as well, or just to Viv. But I think I had a conversation once where I was like, Garen's already decided he doesn't like the finale before it happened. But then the finale happened and was bad, so I think I
think I was preparing for it to be bad, but I was like, damn, Russell can I hope he's like.
Yeah. But then that's different to what you're saying anyway, because it's like, you were preparing for it to be bad. It doesn't mean you want it to be bad. No. You'd still go into things wanting them to be good.
Like, why would I go actively want to spend like an hour and a half, 2 hours of my time doing something that I don't enjoy?
Exactly. And that's why I chose not to watch Better Man and regretted it, because everyone else liked it. I didn't think it looked good when you went. So
I was a little bummed out, especially because I was kind of looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a film tackling these themes, and this kind of sentimental movie. In the past, I could see this having an impact on me.
Yeah.
I was kind of reminded of Past Lives, in a way that I know a lot of people found that to be very moving. And I sort of came from that thinking, I can appreciate the craft. And maybe if I watched it at a different time in my life, maybe I would have liked it more. And I feel a similar way to this, where I can appreciate it, and I would like to view it again, not immediately, but like give it some time and come back to it. Because I would genuinely like to like it, but I don't know. Am I too cynical? Have I just like?
Well, we'll get into.
Am I too bitter?
Well, I guess we'll talk about it when we get into specifics about it. Joe,
and it's fine.
How much did you want to suck Mike Flanagan's dick?
Well, it's interesting because I think this is going to be the first actively competitive episode of All Hail the King. Okay. So I'll go through the history of my opinions. When I first read the book, I had actually had a similar thing. I knew I'd liked it, but I wasn't blown away. And granted, perhaps I almost have a similar thing with you, Garen, where I'm like, I go into things wanting to like him, and I had high expectations because, like I said, I love Mike Flanagan, I love Stephen King, I love this type of movie. It does usually work for me, and I was perhaps aiming too high, where I was like, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about this, I'm not sure how I feel about that, and I'll go into specifics as we go along, but particularly in the adaptation sense of thinking like, oh, okay, this is how they're doing it, and being unsure. But after the first reading and viewing, I was generally quite positive. And I don't know what happened then, but after the rereading the book after watching the film, it clicked. I don't know if it's just the circumstances, being honest. My emotions this week compared to, so we're recording this on a Sunday. My emotions since this Monday compared to the Monday before, when we watched the film, have been very different. Oh shit, surprising. Particularly in terms of the themes and death in general. And I think, almost like you said, in regards to being the right time, I think that the first time watching it was generally quite positive, and then the second time revisiting it, the time in my life was just right for it, and it did really speak to me. So yes, I want to suck my Flanagan's dick. I think this means a lot to me, and I'm ready to absolutely gun for it. I don't think I'm going to change opinions. I'm not here to change opinions, but I'm going to be absolutely standing the hell out of it and analysing the fuck out of it as we go.
Yeah.
And I won't go into my life specifics, but I can sort of delve into why I feel certain ways. And after a lot of debate and trepidation, I was really unsure about this. But it's on my top 4.
Nice one.
Oh,
my top 4 has even changed. I had to sacrifice Pearl.
Rest in peace, Pearl.
I'm very sorry to Pearl. It was I spent genuinely, since rereading it, and I was like, I need to rewatch it before I decide. But since rereading it, which was start of this week, I was debating oh shit, this kind of reframed my experience. No, I won't do it until I rewatch it. But like I've been debating it for like a week of whether to put it on there.
Have you stopped in front of a busker and danced?
Not yet.
Then it didn't really hit you emotionally.
Wow.
But at Reading we did.
We did actually dance.
Yeah,
Maybe
we
that
did-
helped as well.
We did some line dancing.
We did do some
And there
dancing
was something,
together.
the lamest, the lamest dancing. However,
It was something electric about it,
it
wasn't it?
was something incredible about it.
Doing the whole like shuffle.
Shuffle.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's the lamest dancing. The lamest dancing is that one that Donald Trump does, where he like wanks off the two cocks.
Yeah, that's fair. So
Have you seen the leader of Reform doing that, and then
Yes.
just like straight up going into the Sieg Heil?
I was gonna say. Yeah.
What?
Yep. Straight up.
Sorry, not the Sieg Heil. The My Heart Goes Out to You.
Ah, okay, that's fine.
The pussy version. If you're gonna do it properly.
We open up on the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's a very strong way to start. I'll
that's
give
a
it
good
that.
hook.
It's
Yeah, the way they introduce the end of the world as well is really well done, I think, with just seeing the empty classroom, the almost the idea of, and this is relevant throughout, and I'll talk about it throughout, but
It's because
the
it's
idea of-
2:17 in the morning, the night before all the children left these classes.
they do very similar American classrooms.
Yeah.
Almost the normality of it. It's when it's like not this grand thing. It's just
Yeah.
shit's been going down. We're dropped like
And
in the
I
middle of it.
like when Matthew Lillard does come in, and he's just like, "Oh, we're just at the last stage of grief. We're just accepting it now."
Yeah.
And that is how it feels.
Yeah.
Well, that was a big part of it,
It's
you know, and
very
the idea of it of
Melancholy.
This whole part 3 of like just focusing on the end of the world, but then it's revealed like it's not the end of the world. It's the end of a world.
yeah.
But this whole thing, it's so much more surreal than the rest of the story. It is quite interesting, like the choices they make for it.
Yeah.
Like stylistically, like all the lighting, like obviously all the Chuck posters everywhere.
Yeah, it's quite ominous
yeah,
as
yeah.
well. There's a real foreboding tone to it.
Yeah, it's quite creepy.
Yeah.
Especially like near the very end.
It's interesting. This is another case of, you know, after speaking about Shawshank, another case of, it's a non-horror Stephen King book, but also it's got a lot of horror aspects. I mean,
he's definitely like flexing some of his horror muscles, like with all the lights going out.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a quote. I don't know where I hear this. It might have even been from us in the last episode. I was editing.
I want to say this quote I love.
You go to Stephen King for the horror, but you stay for the heart.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that Mike Flanagan said when he was gassing up Stephen King, saying about how, people say Stephen King is a horror writer, but really the thing that Stephen King does well is the characters. And having now read more Stephen King, I know we're only 3 episodes in. I'm currently in the middle of reading Salem's Lot, which is another big one.
Spoilers for next episode.
Yeah, spoilers for next episode, but I've obviously read It as well. I've read a lot of his bigger ones, and the things to get through for those is just his way of how he can form characters. So I definitely agree with Mike Flanagan in
It
that.
must have been like this one's like much more of a challenge then, considering like at least for the first 2 parts, like you're just being introduced to like a ton of these characters, so in a way you got to kind of quickly grow to really like them in a very short period of time. Like 20 minutes for the part 1, like 20 minutes for part 2, then you got an hour for Winnie's later on. So
yeah, well, it's interesting, especially because we mainly follow Marty in this part 1, who's a teacher. Part 1, well, Act 3, but the first part of the movie, and Karen Gillan playing Felicia as his ex-wife. And we see the end of the world, but it's not focusing on the apocalypse itself. It's focusing on the people it's affecting.
Yeah, it's not focusing on like the survival. It's more just like the grief.
That's what the story is about, isn't it? Grief and loss, and the idea of we all know that we're going to die. It's like Karen Gillan says in the film, like we're living in the end times, and everyone's just kind of accepted it. Like you said, the Matthew Lillard says the 5 stages of grief, and everyone's in acceptance.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the stronger aspects of this part, because I could definitely see why this part might put some people off. It does feel very separate from the other 2 parts, mainly in the sense of, the other 2 parts are grounded literally in Chuck's life, whereas this is obviously abstract and metaphorical.
Yeah.
To the point where the characters kind of aren't even real, depending on your interpretation of it.
They're like figments of Chuck.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that is more apparent in the film adaptation.
I agree with that.
Because this is something that I was kind of interested to see how the book would elaborate on this, and it doesn't. This is just a film thing.
Yeah.
When we get to Act 1 and you see Marty and Felicia and Sam come back,
Yeah.
that's not in the book.
Yeah. You get to see how Chuck sees these people when he's younger. And it's like the whole idea of our brains, when we dream, we cannot make up faces.
Yeah.
All the faces in our dreams we have seen
Yeah,
before.
we're just like recontextualizing
Yeah.
stuff from our
Like that
lives.
dream I had with Viv was ignoring me.
Or that dream where Garen wouldn't invite me to his orgy.
Yeah. I wish I could win.
I want to put my cards on the table. If I do have an orgy, Viv, you're the first one invited.
Thank you. I'll never ignore you.
All hail the orgy. It's like that. It's like it's a dream. You know, and yet the characters, they do feel real because we're being introduced to them before we understand Chuck's life.
Having the setting of like almost desperation for a lot of these people is like an almost like quick get to for like how getting them to sympathize with them.
Yeah.
Like the scene with who's the teacher?
Marty.
Marty.
Chiwetel's the actor.
Yeah. Just obviously you see all the parents like reaction to this information.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he's not indifferent, but he's just like in a way he's like almost just accepted it.
There's a big push in this act that I think is really interesting. I've kind of got a long analysis about it throughout the whole book.
Yeah.
That I think I might save my full analysis for the end because there's a large part in Act 1 I think is more relevant. But just to sort of start building towards it is this whole idea of, you know, normality in the end times, whether in this case the apocalypse or in continuing after like the death of a loved one, and how Marty as a character, as a teacher, he's still trying to teach. He's got most of his class is empty, and yet he's still teaching.
Yeah, the internet's down.
The internet's down. He's got, you know, he said not only him, but the other teachers have been keeping paper copies of stuff since the internet's been going down. He's trying to keep the parent-teacher conferences on topic.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that the parents, arguably rightfully so, aren't really that interested in their child's education more than anything.
You can kind of see both sides of like.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'd want to panic, but at the same time, like a good way to sort of like bring yourself like down to earth again is just like to focus on the current thing you're doing.
Well, it's like one of my favorite, not cameos, but just actor appearances in this movie that I didn't mention earlier. Harvey Guillen's character says,
Yeah.
Guillermo. I love him. He's a beautiful man. When he says like absenteeism is an all-time high, so they're being told about like your child's struggling at school, and it's like, well, they're like not been here. It's like, well, yeah, why would we send them to school at this time?
Yeah.
But then, you know, not to jump ahead too much, but there's that throughout of like Felicia, she's still going to work even though most of the doctors aren't even there. And,
like we're showing these two characters in the situation where, regardless of how bad it's getting, they never give up.
No,
like,
exactly.
Both on like the jobs that they're doing, but also on each other, which is
on
like
each other, and they've both got. Sorry, guys.
I think they are meant to be parallels or very much coded to be Chuck. They are aspects of Chuck's personality.
Yeah.
In that they are not giving up. They are doing everything they can in their respective roles. But one thing I do want to say, and it kind of goes back to the scene you were on about where Marty is talking to the parents at school.
Yes.
I think that's one of the weaker scenes in the film for me.
You don't like the Pornhub monologue?
Well, interesting.
That is like what most of the first page of the story is.
Well, and also one interesting aspect is in the book, they like we're getting it from like basically Marty's perspective, but it's told in third person. But he says like no parents mention Pornhub. Like there's an actual point of saying like no one mentions it, but he thinks that they're probably also thinking about it. So to have that be then a literal, to like an actual discussion point, I don't know how to feel about that. I definitely think that this is one of the moments that I don't gun for that much.
It's definitely going for like a kind of levity in the dark situation, but it doesn't land for me either. It's like I know quite a few people don't like a lot of Mike Flanagan's sort of monologues.
Yeah, which
and
this film is 90% monologue.
It is a lot of his works, and sometimes they can be incredibly moving emotional. Sometimes they can kind of miss, and I do think this is just one of those instances.
Yeah, I just think it, especially seeing as, you know, a lot of the dialogue in this film, especially like the narration, is pulled specifically from the book.
So much of it is
That I think that this is one of the few changes that I'm just like, yeah, you didn't need this. You didn't need that specific bit. Have the parents have the discussion, but you don't need the that specific monologue. I think that considering how many monologues are in the film, and a lot of them, not a lot of them, but there are a couple like distinct ones that are added for the film.
Yeah,
that's just one. It's like, if I was nitpicking, I could say cut that.
There are a couple I do quite like in this specific part of it, like say the one with like the weatherman, the funeral guy. I thought that was quite
yeah.
It's just I find with that, it's the first few minutes of the film. And this actually takes me back to an interview with Stephen King when he was talking about writing The Stand. I think you've got The Stand up there. Have you read it? Do you know anything about The Stand?
I have not read it yet. I'm saving it for when we get to...
We're not going to do it for a while. So
yeah.
Do you mind if I'm not going to say anything specific, but it's like mild spoilers?
That's okay. We're not going to be doing that for years. So okay. I'm sure I'll forget by then.
So this scene... very early in the movie, it introduces a load of characters who don't come back. And I there's a Stephen King interview where he was saying he'd written The Stand and he hit a wall. He had introduced too many characters and he didn't know how to progress with the story. So he just killed off like half of them in one scene just to make it bearable for him to continue the story.
That's really funny.
And I sort of feel like this is similar. It's just like, okay, why are you introducing these characters if they're not really relevant?
In the classroom scene?
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Like, I understand, like, when you read the book, it's there to sort of illustrate the point that there are these concerns, and how else do you do it in film without it being literal or having the overbearing narration, which is a problem I do have with the film, which I think is more prevalent throughout Act 2.
Yeah,
than anywhere else.
Interesting. I agree in a sense. I think that if I was gonna it doesn't bother me that much, but if I was gonna adjust it, perhaps you could have had the scene where it's the kids speaking, because obviously the teenagers are like also concerned, and I feel like it's actually kind of normal for. I mean, I've been in when I was on teaching work experience, we had to do work experience in comprehensive schools, even though I was never planning on teaching in an older school, and it was around. Oh, gosh, what is it? 2021. So, like, obviously, Israel and Palestine has always had problems, but that was one of the topics at the time. And I remember being sat in a GCSE classroom, and the kids were asking their teachers about it. So I feel like it could have been, instead of the parents, maybe you could have had it where that beginning scene where the kids like take out their phones and they're talking about it. Yeah. Maybe you could have had that be it.
I think it would have been more interesting to get their perspective as kids. Yeah. Because Marty does obviously talk to people his own age, like his neighbour, and older people, like Sam, the funeral
he covers
director.
like a whole range of
I think it would have been more interesting to hear from the kids.
Yeah, that's fair.
In that sense.
It's interesting because the only thing I would say to not counter your argument, because I agree with you in a sense, but say is, Stephen King he writes characters so well, he does introduce a lot of them. One of the reasons I'm really into Salem's Lot now, not giving opinion, just I'm into it, like as in I'm reading it fine. But a lot of the things I struggled with at the start of that was just the amount of characters being introduced.
Yeah.
But this is obviously not really a book film thing though, because this is obviously a film choice.
Yeah. At times I'm just like, okay, are these characters just being introduced here so that Mike Flanagan's friends can get paid? Which is the thing I feel with other creative.
I think I can understand where it's coming from. However, I don't think it's like so like beating you over the head. They're like extremely short scenes that ought to express certain ideas about the world and the current situation. I think it's pretty smooth, apart from maybe the Pornhub line.
I think it's paced much better in the book. I think
it's very fast in the book. I will say though, I do think I fundamentally disagree in the sense of introducing them for a reason. Maybe this is just me being a contrarian. I don't think you have to introduce characters for a reason.
Yeah, I don't think every character needs to have like a big plot bearing point.
But on the flip side, sorry to cut you off, but on the flip side, they do then also put a focus on the Pornhub guy. Yeah. So it's kind of that does, which is a shame because
when I saw David Dastmalchian, I'm just like, oh, he's a great actor. I love David Dastmalchian.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back, and he never does. I think he's really underrated. I
like him.
I do like it when he shows up in a film. So that kind of bummed me out that he was just there for like.
Oh, well, maybe he'll come up later on in Mike's work. So.
Yeah.
Maybe being Carrie. I don't know. As the other grown man character, I'm sure there's one.
Yeah, like, and Harvey Guillen. Obviously, I like him. He's in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
Companion.
I'm glad he was in less. I like seeing him for a second and then just appreciating him and then having him go.
But yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like, especially with this act, I'm finding it so hard to verbalize because I want to be positive.
Go on, just spill your beans.
Yeah.
But I'm not like actively like saying I dislike him. Just sort of like at a loss for it. It's just like I don't feel like Marty's got that much agency, which I guess is kind of the point because it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
But I don't find him that interesting.
Okay,
and I know
that's fair.
I know it's like an act in a short story that's essentially like an anthology.
Yeah.
So there's not really a lot to grab onto, but Chiwetel Ejiofor, I think, is a great actor.
Yeah.
And obviously we've already talked about Karen Gillan. I think they do the best with what they've got.
Yeah.
I love Karen Gillan.
I like them together.
Yeah.
I think he brings a good groundness to it all.
Yeah.
I feel in all these kind of like, it's quite a wacky scenario, just like everything's ending and everyone's just like kind of being all absent in themselves, and yet he still has this sort of liveliness to him. He doesn't have like that much to work with, but he did get the line that made me cry, which is just the part where it goes like, I love you, and then it cuts off. I don't know what it is about it, but just I think the concept of that
I agree with you.
really gets to me. It's just like expressing this emotion just a little bit too late, and it really cut me this time.
Yeah.
I think that's true, and I think that I really agree with you on that. I think that in particular, the fact that at the end the stars are going out, everything's going to shit, and they know that they've got seconds. And I think that what gets me is the fact that they choose to look at each other.
Yeah.
And I think Karen Gillan does some really good face acting in this segment. I think she portrays especially well kind of how the mix of emotion, where I think that she's kind of got the more interesting side of it in the sense of she's a practitioner in a hospital that's clearly struggling. I mean, they call themselves the Suicide Squad because the amount of people, but even in the sense of how we're introduced to her, it's really dingy. She's listening to the radio. She's got her head in her hands.
Yeah,
I love that shot. I didn't notice it the first time. There's the shot of Raoul Coley standing in the door frame saying about how like one of the doctors has left.
Yeah,
and another guy, I assume is a doctor because he's in a lab coat, walks past, clearly drinking from a flask.
Oh no, I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
that's great.
And I was just, it's I love the hospital setting, and I think that her character is more interesting in the sense, not to compare them, but just in the sense of, we see her phoning Marty and then getting the whole thing about like how she hung up and then called it back because she was like...
Yeah, I like deconstructing relationships through context.
Yeah, I really like the details in the book, and I think that he says the line in the film as well, but they have a couple more lines on it in the book of just the fact that, they're divorced, and arguably their relationship has been better since they've separated. Yeah. They clearly have a strong bond.
I also do like how I know how you're saying like they're both like supposed to represent Chuck. I do like how they didn't specifically they didn't go for this character supposed to represent this person specifically. Yeah. I thought that was a good like thing to avoid, rather just like they represent like a ton of aspects of it.
Like the carrying on as normal, but also deep down you are being afraid.
Yeah,
the seeking out of connection.
This might be an odd one, and feel free to disagree with me on this, because I don't know if I 100% agree with myself here.
Yeah,
I kind of would have liked it more if there was a more limited cast, and instead of having distinct actors, they like reused the same actors throughout the act, and they were playing different characters.
Well, I mean, they kind of did that.
Yeah,
I think I get what you mean though in more detailed way.
Yeah, like they could have had everybody like popping up again to just
Yeah. I get what you mean. The only reason I don't necessarily disagree. I think that's an interesting concept. I just don't see how he would have done that in the sense of
I mean, they did that with Marty and Karen Gillan.
yeah, we see them, but I get what you mean in
And,
doing them, basically having them. So you know, Kate Siegel's character, the teacher.
Yeah.
What if instead of being her, that was Marty, and like, but then I think that's putting
then
too
he's
much
not necessarily
emphasis.
that, but just like
Yeah. The actors.
you know, they had
showing
the
up.
actors playing multiple characters. So, like you could have, I don't know, Karen Gillan playing is it Janice?
The dance.
The dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and-
I think. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
I don't know, just
I think
something.
that's an interesting concept.
Because obviously they do bring back like Sam
Yeah.
in Act 1 where
Yeah.
he's not there in the story.
I think that in a pessimistic view, I could imagine people being like, that was confusing. But on the most literal sense, I kind of like the distance. Because again, if you go with the whole, not necessarily dream theory, but like playing on the idea of memories and our brain, like our mind is every person we've ever not only met, but seen. I like that some of these people that kind of represent Chuck inside his mind at the end are people that, you know, yes, whoever he was Marty, I went by a different name, but whoever as a
He was just a
teacher,
teacher at
whether
the school
he might not
30 years
even
ago.
he might not even
Yeah,
have
I
never
kind of-
taught Chuck.
I think
You know?
if it was, say, someone who was a main character within the first act, and
Yeah.
they come back and I think that would sort of like I wouldn't find it confusing, but I can sort of see it being
Yeah.
perceived as just like, all right, this is getting kind of convoluted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just musings, I suppose.
Anything else you want to say about the first act?
Yeah, there's quite a few. Well, kind of. Obviously, we've already said about Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
Amazing. And the girl from Megan
And the girl from Megan coming in on the roller skates.
coming on the roller skates.
Very
Incredible. Fucking scary bit when the lights go out. Obviously, we see Chuck on the billboards in the sign. There's a really interesting line I wanted to talk about, like very briefly, just even if it's just a mention from the book, when Marty says, and the photo must be an old one. If he'd put in almost 40 years, his hair would be white or gone. And I think that's really interesting because obviously the picture we see of Chuck is an old one because that's not what Chuck looks like in present time. Even at the end of the act, for a second, we see Chuck in his hospital gown. And obviously he has lost most of his hair. And it's interesting in the sense of how he's being remembered as this version of himself. Even in the sense of, they talked about it a lot in the interviews and behind the scenes, but I did look out for it and I did see it in this one of how we see Chuck in the videos smiling and like every so often the smile wavers.
Yeah.
It's the idea of like how Chuck is presented versus the state he's currently in. And, you know, almost the idea of him within like his life and how he views himself. After all, this is arguably like his world.
Yeah.
That's kind of built around him. And it kind of gives the feeling of his brain wanting to remember him as he was before the illness, moments before his death. His brain itself accepting like this is the state he's in.
I do kind of want to mention here in the book when the act does come to an end and we do see Chuck.
Yeah.
There's a lot more in the book to that.
There is,
Which
there is.
obviously you're aware of, but
Yeah.
Viv isn't. And also Viv's not interested because she's looking through her bag for...
Fuck off! I'm getting stuff. I've muted my mic because I'm just grabbing this. Carry on. Again, lip balm.
Oh, lip balm.
Wow.
Wow.
Imagine having chapped lips. Skill issue.
Yeah.
Sorry, go.
No, it's a scene between Chuck's son and his brother-in-law. And this is something I would have liked to have seen in the movie.
Interesting.
We kind of get a brief glimpse of it.
Yeah, we see his son.
I probably imagined they filmed this and they cut it out.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I've not seen it. I can't say that they made the right choice in cutting it.
Yeah.
But kind of like going back through it, I'm just like, this would have been some nice context, I suppose.
I'm in between. I'm half and half. So we see a conversation between Chuck's brother-in-law and his son, and the son's asking about God, about like if there is a God, why would he invent something like cancer? Which personally I think is a conversation that's
It's very Ricky Gervais.
Yeah. But also
they kind of already cover it in that one scene in Act 2.
In Act 2, which obviously is in the book, calls back to that idea, and obviously Stephen King is very interested in religion.
Yeah.
I do like, there is a line that I really like when the brother-in-law is like trying to comfort the son and is speaking very like philosophically, and the son is like, well, like trying to get him to kind of explain like almost the meaning of death. And there is a line that I really like saying, like, death brings philosophy to ruin. It's like, you can't mind game your way out of it.
Yeah.
And there's also another line I do really like, of the human brain is finite, but the mind within is infinite, which does play into the whole theme of, Truck's world. But I don't know, I feel as though we get the information we need in the film. I don't think it would have taken anything away by having that extra conversation. Perhaps if we traded another scene for it, perhaps take out the Pornhub line and put that in. But personally, I don't think it was needed. I think that I'm happy.
I don't know if it was
there.
needed necessarily, but I kind of liked the content that's in there. Kind of, I don't know, going into Act 2 where we actually kind of learn about Chuck.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to have some of that hindsight necessarily, the context of there's lines in here like he'll never get to take the train across Canada or visit Australia, he'll never have he'll never go to my high school reunion, he's never going to have a retirement party where they make funny speeches about him, and
he's never going to jerk off to Pornhub again.
Yeah. Well, can't really do that with cancer anyway, can you? So your sex life goes with cancer.
I agree in a sense, because there's even a line I like which feeds into the whole theme of like everyone is a universe, the whole we contain multitudes thing of they waited as Chuck, father, husband, accountant, dancer, fan of TV crime shows, and it's just like it's almost trying to categorize him in a sense of like, well, you can try and categorize a person, but there's so much more
it's like
there.
Those Netflix things. And it's just like funny, emotional.
Double-edged sword. I'm not necessarily sad it's there, but I definitely think it works with the theme of, especially as I'm going to talk about later, specifically when we get to Act 1, of a large theme of how when we think of death, we think always in the future tense.
Yeah.
Rather in looking back on life in the past tense, which obviously I think is strong in the film for the fact that we literally start with the death and work our way backwards.
Yeah.
One thing I want to ask, what do you think about Marty seeing the cupola?
I don't think it adds anything. I think it's kind of just... It's an interesting shot in the sense of obviously...
Yeah.
Do you remember what he was like? I know it was like during the phone call they were having.
Yeah.
Is that in the book?
No, the phone call. Yeah, yes, but not to the...
him seeing the cupola.
No.
So I'm just thinking, like, because, like, do you remember the specific conversation he was having with...
It was when they were talking about, like, California, and then just before they went into the whole final... What's the conversation? The Cosmic Calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in between that. I can't remember the specific, like, part of the conversation.
Yeah.
But, it was just before the Cosmic Calendar part, which is an added bit that's not in the book. That's the whole speech about the Cosmic Calendar.
Carl Sagan bit.
Yeah. Which... I love this film. I love monologues. I think that I'm a defender of Mike Flanagan monologues in a lot of cases. That's one bit that I'm almost in between on. Like, I like it, but also in a cynical sense, I feel like it pads out, what's clearly the shortest part of the story, and I feel like it does add to that whole idea of life is like a blip.
Yeah.
Like, it does go by that fast, and even in the grand scheme of the universe it's very short, but even then I don't know, it does. I give the rest of the monologues of this pretty much a pass. This is the only one that
I think it connects to like the the use of like astronomy and like general sort of like galaxy
it definitely ties in,
because obviously like later on we get like the shooting stars and whatever he obviously watches it when he's younger.
Yeah.
But generally, like, universes and galaxies playing into. I feel so it's a good like way to use the motif.
The concept definitely works. It's more the speech itself, maybe, but maybe it's just because it wasn't in the book. It's one of the added ones.
Yeah.
Because the other added one later on, the Mark Hamill one we'll talk about, I really like. So I think this is just in my head. I'm like, this is the one I'm less interested on.
You should go into banking,
accountancy. But yeah, in terms of him seeing the cupola, I think it's interesting. I definitely think maybe there's something you could analyse there. Perhaps in the sense of it's a breadcrumb. Also, perhaps if I was like just to throw shit at the wall to see if it sticks, maybe you could analyse it in the sense of obviously the cupola showed Chuck that he was going to die. It showed Chuck's grandfather not only his own death but the deaths of other people. You could just kind of have it as this representation of death is always there. It's always on the edge. The fact that it's locked as well is always like this thought that our brain kind of tries to stop us thinking. Yeah,
that's how I sort of view it. Like the cupola.
Yeah,
it's like it's supposed to be more of like maybe sort of a representation of like suppressed thought.
Yeah,
it's the. I tend to see it as it's the constant like the sword of Damocles that's hanging over the household.
Yeah,
just like it's always there, and you can go tempt fate if you want and see the future, but it works for the themes of movies. Just like no, why bother about what's happened before, what's happening in the future? It's about what's happening now. I think does bring us quite nicely into Act 2.
Yeah.
Which I believe in the film is Buskers Forever, but in the book it's just
Buskers. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say, it's Thursday afternoon, the weather is fucking gorgeous.
This is interesting, because obviously we've alluded to the narration, and when we first watched this, I was unsure how I felt. Act 2 is actually the part of the film that won me over with the narration. I know that you feel differently.
I said I prefer the book over the film. I think I prefer Act 2 of the film over the book version.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah,
but the other acts of
fair
the film, I think the book does stronger.
It's
because it's a very obviously visual thing.
It's the dance. It's the big dance.
That's the part of the book that I struggle with the most, just because Stephen King does really good writing, but obviously he's seeing a dance versus describing like movement. Yeah, and to be fair, he doesn't describe specific movements; it's more the feeling.
And that's why I feel like the directing comes in like the best, like the shot angles. The obviously the choreography, but also the editing. It's like I think it's edited really, really smoothly for the actual dancing of it.
Yeah.
But I really like the whole setup of it. The tonal contrast to obviously the end of the universe to just a very nice day.
Yeah.
I think was like really lovely.
Yeah.
But just to quickly like comment on the voiceover narration, I'm a bit of a defender of narration. I think it gets a bit of a bad rap. I can understand people being kind of annoyed of how to express it. I do think, and obviously, it's a case-by-case basis. Not all narration is good. Not all narration is bad. I do think just whenever people get it, they immediately recoil.
I think that for me, I wasn't expecting narration, so when it started, and because it's not immediate as well. In Act 3, at the beginning of the film, it's like a good 10 minutes in before we hear actual narration.
Yeah.
And it's quite sparse. And in Act 2, there's a lot more of it.
Yeah.
But I like how the narration kind of, and it does this at the end as well with like teenage Chuck's final moments, how it kind of interacts with the world.
Yeah.
Like the bit that won me over, I was laughing at it when we watched it, is the whole like, it was fucking bullshit. Yeah. And like, I can't remember what she says. I think she says like, it fucking sucks. And the narration says, it was a dismaying shock. And like, that's the aspect I like.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about this in the Shawshank episode, but the way they use narration in that, is fantastic, because they obviously recorded it and then they like constructed the scene then around it to make it sort of fit, and it used that sort of idea within it very well. I felt a lot of the time.
Whereas this, from my understanding, was like kind of last minute, like where they got Nick Offerman to do it.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of I feel like my issue with narration is when it feels like it's not adding anything. And I think that when it started the first time we watched it and I wasn't expecting it, I was feeling like, oh, come on, leave these scenes play out. Like, for example,
There are
when
scenes-
Taylor's on the drums.
There are some scenes where
Yeah.
I was genuinely thinking like, okay, I wish this was able to breathe. However,
Yeah.
there are times where I was thinking, if this didn't have narration, it would feel very empty.
Yeah, because like I wasn't sure how to feel when Taylor's drumming of like the narration describing it. I was like, oh, I kind of wish we could just hear the drums. But actually, I do think it's a good way of like showing her mindset and the whole like, oh, Mr. Businessman thing. She adds this and like kind of going through that. I think it plays on the strength of the writing, especially because it's so closely tied to the actual text of the book.
Yeah. It's a good way to add humor, especially since it was like...
Yeah.
Which is why I just find this very odd, because the narration is like a thing that I do find in this film. It relies on it like a crutch.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I very much feel like they were kind of boxed into a corner. They're just like, we don't really know how to adapt this without someone literally saying what's in the book word for word.
Interesting.
And oddly enough, though, it's my favourite part of the film.
Do you really like the narration?
I kind of do in this act.
Yeah.
Like, it's odd because without the narration, I don't know how Act 2 would work as a film.
Yeah.
It would be interesting. I'd like to see it as like an experiment for just like removing all the narration from that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that whilst watching it as well. Just like, I wonder what this would play like. It would feel quite empty, but then when like obviously it's important, like the dance is just like
Yeah.
there's nothing to say. It just
I don't know.
feels
Is it maybe sometimes I'm just like, okay, with narration you don't need it to be like a character within the story for it to work. We're just like, sometimes it's just like, okay, who is this omniscient figure who is...
In this case, I think I kind of like that it's not a character.
It's Nick Offerman.
I mean,
I like that.
It's
I like,
Ron.
Yeah,
from
I like
Parks
Nick
and Rec.
Offerman's voice.
yeah. Even in the fact of like, you know, brief discussions of God, of like, you know, yeah, who is this omniscient person? But like, does it matter in a sense? And it reminds me of a quote from the book: "Would answers make a good thing better?" Like, would that change the narration itself? But I like how in the film the narration, like it all plays a part. It all adds together. Of like, you got the music, the build up, Chuck stopping, the very quick shots of his grandmother.
It's
to the
very
point where-
rhythmic.
Yeah, it's very
It's a
rhythmic
very
and-
well edited.
Yeah, exactly. And the narration is like, it flows with it. And then, you know, when it stops and lets the music and the dance happen, you know.
Yeah, when he
it's-
just starts vibing, he's bobbing his head.
Yeah.
Fucking chills, man. Just like the entire build up to it, and then he just like
It feels
starts
like
grooving to it.
muscle memory. I feel like, because obviously it makes a big point of, you know, why did he stop?
Yeah.
And like, this says the whole thing at the end of, once his memory starts to go, I mean, it kind of hints that his memory has already started to go.
Yeah.
We get the "Hey little sister" line in the film and like
Yeah.
"Come dance," and the reason that like that's in the book is because he's trying to literally remember the name of his friend's little sister that he was in the band with, who he used to dance with. So it's in the book. It's especially prevalent that he is already losing his memory. The cancer has already started to spread. And I like that with the dance, it almost feels like, especially with how quick the shots of his grandmother are,
Yeah.
the fact we don't even see her face, we only see her hand.
Yeah.
It's like, it's muscle memory. It's not taking over. I mean, Karen Gillan said in an interview that babies dance. Dancing is like one of human beings' like earliest forms of expression.
Yeah.
Just how we move our
You
bodies.
see it with animals.
Exactly, yeah. Animals,
I don't know why
movements and
this is
stuff
what
like
my
that.
mind went to, but it's just like, it's how you communicate with your partner in Spore. You remember Spore?
I remember Sport.
I remember Sport.
I remembered liking that game up to a point where it kind of just got boring once you
Yeah.
could like build spaceships. And stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as interesting, is it?
But yeah, and then it's interesting because I always feel like as well, especially saying about Mandy Moore's choreography, of how Chuck feels a little more rigid. He kind of is only moving on the spot, and then he starts going even wider. And then once Janice joins in,
Yeah.
and like him welcoming her in, you see him sort of start to lead her. And again, it's sort of on the spot before they go wide and they really use the space.
Yeah.
And it just feels like that slowly opening up of expression. And
I kind of like as well in the film version that Janice kind of like puts herself in that situation, whereas in the
Yeah.
book it's more like Chuck picks her out of the crowd and
yeah, I like in the film she's just jiving along,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
She's clearly like, she wants to be a part of it, but there's a part of her that's still like holding back.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing. I mean, I'll go into even more detail later, but I'll say about it now about how I think this book and the story in general, the film as well, has a lot of emphasis on what we value in life, particularly in terms of work as well, and like careers. We spend a lot of time at work. The billboard in Act 3 is supposedly assumed to be Chuck's retirement picture by the people, by Marty, and he's clearly like at his job. In Act 3 we see a lot of people like still going to work despite it being the end times. And when Marty speaks to Andrea, the woman who's walking back from the sinkhole, and she's like, oh, the bank is leaning, half of it is in the sinkhole, I guess that's my job done. And it's like, well, it's the end of the world, and she's focusing on that.
Yeah, topic we sort of like discussed kind of a lot. Like, in general, just sort of like balancing careers and like your livelihood, and how it's honestly just like a ton of it's like a push and pull, and like and a lot of the time it can leave like a lot of people feeling very empty and that they've wasted their life.
I had a conversation with my mother today where I've had this conversation with my parents many times, because teaching is a career that I think takes a lot of people's time, like to a ridiculous extent. And I said to my mother today about how my first year of teaching, outside of work, all I did was work. I genuinely, other than Saturdays, which I made myself take off, I was working all the time. Doing things, setting things up. And I've said since, and I said today about, like, my mother's a workaholic. She recently retired, and it's kind of upsets her to know that they're getting on fine without her, because, you put a lot of emphasis on your life in this place. And then when you're done, they just replace you. And then, and in a sense, if I said like, oh, I will fight to never be in the situation again where work takes up that much of my life. And I think it says a lot that, Chuck is introduced as sort of the personification of like white America in his suit. Mr. Businessman. He's in his suit.
He's completely like characterized by his job.
He's literally dying. He has got cancer. He's at a work meet. He doesn't know he has cancer yet, but he's only got 9 months to live. And I think it's beautiful, the whole idea of he's walking, he's got his suit, he's got his briefcase, and the music speaks to him, and that's when he stops. And it's the whole thing of like, well, why does he stop? And there's a lot of questions. Why does he stop? And they say, do you dance for a living? What do you do for a living? We could busk our way to fame or fortune. Do any of you want a career change?
But also, it also ties into the drummer girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Her parents expected her she was going to Juilliard. I don't know if she was doing music in Juilliard or something, or she was doing
I'm not sure.
But then she obviously left because she didn't feel connected to it, and now she's doing this. And she feels like kind of mixed about it. However, she does get moments where she's doing stuff she loves. Exactly,
and there's a lot of emphasis on, and even she's the one who says, oh, we could make this into a business. It's almost like how death is always on our minds. We're always thinking, because you do need money to survive. We live in a capitalist society. You can't not work. But there's so much emphasis put on career specifically, especially in the text of this.
Could I just take a moment to filibuster?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why I wanted to read this and I wanted this to work for me is at this moment in my life, I'm in a relatively stable job, and it's not what I want to be doing in life, but it's kind of where I am. And I don't know. Maybe part of me is just like kind of like wishing.
Are you recoiling at these things being presented to you?
No, it's just like, especially with me, just like, obviously, like I said earlier, I had COVID recently. Not that I thought I was going to die from it, but last time I had...
Oh no, man, you're asthmatic as fuck.
Yeah.
I am very asthmatic, and the last time I had it, my lungs were fucked for like 12 months or something.
And now you're on the roids and you're jacked.
I've currently been prescribed steroids that I've got to take 8 times a day, which is insane. But it's by the by.
But now you can bench like a fuckload. It's incredible.
And not that I'm just like, if I didn't think I was going to die from the COVID. It can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen.
I hope it doesn't.
It didn't.
I'm glad.
Yeah. But I don't know, maybe part of me was just like, I kind of wanted something that really spoke to me at this moment where I'm just sort of feeling kind of don't know, maybe bummed out, just sort of like at a crossroads, maybe where I want to, I'm kind of like looking back at my life, like what I've achieved and what's there in the future and what I can do now, and I'm like, this should work for me. Why is it not working? What's not clicking?
Yeah.
Do you think part 2 is your favorite because you're almost at Chuck's age? You're almost at that part of Chuck's life.
Yeah, I'm almost 39.
You're closer to like middle Chuck than you are like say young Chuck though.
Thanks.
It's fine. So are we.
Yeah.
We're only a couple months younger than you.
Closer to teenage Chuck. He's like 17.
That's actually true. We are technically closer to teenage Chuck.
I guess in terms of life.
Yeah, in terms of progression of life.
I don't know. I feel like lately I've just sort of been in that sort of mindset, and I'm just like, I'm not like planning on quitting my job, but I'm definitely planning on trying to find something else. But then it's just replacing one thing for another.
I completely get you. And the thing is, and Viv will know this, for the last fucking 5 years of my life, of every other month I want to quit teaching. Not because I don't like it. I love working with kids. But because, frankly, like most jobs, it's just a toxic environment to be in. Even outside of the profession itself, not a single person I know from university that I lived with 8 other teachers. As far as I know, I might be wrong. There's one of them we don't speak to. Not for any particular reason. We just didn't see them much. As far as I know, have not had permanent jobs. I've been in the profession 5 years. There is a statistic that within 5 years, 50% of teachers leave. The amount of situations I've been in where you work really hard, and this is why I spoke to my mother about it this morning, is just the constant loop of you work hard for a bit and you're kind of hoping that you'll get kept on and then you just get replaced, which you wouldn't think that's what schools are like, but unfortunately it is, because there's a whole other aspect of like young teachers being funded and the government paying for NQTs and stuff, but whatever. But so I fully get you on that regard, and I think that it can be hit or miss in this, like in what Life of Chuck is trying to say. It's the point where I was tempted to like even delve into it more in a YouTube video, thinking about like how it represents sort of work, because when a film or just a story in general talks about work and how life is grander outside of a career, it's hard because it's all well and good to say that, but like you said, it's work is unfortunately something we have to do.
Yeah.
And that does make it a bit more awkward, because sometimes it can feel preachy, sometimes it can feel unrealistic in the sense of it's
following dreams compared to life.
Yeah, random example, Salt Path, when people were like, this is like romanticization of homelessness, and it's like, well, I personally disagree, but I can't say that take is wrong, because like that's what people see in it. So I fully get where you're coming from. Obviously, it worked for me more than it worked for you, but
random thing you just mentioning homelessness. After we watched Life of Chuck, I walked home, and a homeless guy came up to me and asked me for money. I very seldom carry cash, and I said to him, "Sorry, I don't have any cash." And he just started swearing at me, just like, "Oh, fuck off! You do have cash, you just don't want to give it to me, mate." And I'm just like, I genuinely didn't have cash that time. It was just like, I don't know, kind of just like, I was just like, I know I didn't like connect with the movie on a level, but just like, am I that pessimistic? I don't know. It's
interesting.
It's just like, maybe I can't see like the joys in life. I don't know. Like I'm often very much like reflective of like my relationships with people, like not to get too deep on things.
I'll give you a big hug right now when we're done with this.
But like, I don't know, like I don't have a good relationship with either of my parents. I've got siblings who I get along with, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of the time my relationships feel like they're like kept at an arm's length.
Yeah.
And sometimes films do kind of like invite me in, and I feel more welcomed by them. And this film, even though it's got all the pieces there that should work for me, it's still not working. And it's like, is it a problem with the film at this point, or is it a problem with me?
Well, it's like you said, it's time and place.
Is it how they express?
I don't know, because I watched Lost in Translation earlier this week, which obviously I know is one of your favourite films. And I didn't like full on cry, but I was tearing up at some point. So I was like, okay, so movies can still like, I can still be affected by stuff when it works in a way, but just trying to figure out the magic ingredient, I don't know what it is.
Garen, if we knew the magic ingredient, we'd be buying it and selling it.
I know. It's weird because so much of Life of Chuck is stuff that I feel like I would love this.
Well, it's all like frame of reference, like even just like it's the tiny things on how they express these sort of ideas that it's obviously gonna affect people way more. Like obviously it's like affecting Joe. It affected me. It just because like those like the way they express them didn't affect you doesn't mean it's wrong or you're wrong in any way. It's just you've had a different experience that channels like these ideas that just like there's like a bit of friction there, but that doesn't mean they're like either wrong.
It's like a puzzle piece, and sometimes it fits perfectly, sometimes you get those pieces that feel like they should fit and don't.
But when you do find them, it's just like it's the most incredible thing in the world.
No, it is. It's I don't know. You can't really choose what media is.
I understand when like something huge is like universally like accepted, and like don't get me wrong, I love being a hater. Being a hater is so fun. I love shitting on things sometimes.
But you say that, but you recently hated Bring Her Back, which I found very emotionally moving.
Yeah, and
so it's
some of the reasons.
That doesn't mean that you're wrong in not liking that. It doesn't mean I'm wrong in liking that.
Well, no, it's interesting because you say that, and one of the specific scenes you brought up really worked for you, and was the one scene because I was in the middle. I know now. I don't like that movie. I had to like do a full deep dive on my own how I review things in my head because of that. But you said about one of the specific scenes that really worked for you, and that was the scene that specifically made me not like the movie. Really? Okay. Because almost for the same reason that you do like it, and that's the thing with art. It's so specific to not only who you are, but who you are in this exact moment. Like I said, the reason this worked for me now is literally just because of differences between last week and this week. Almost like with COVID, like with just a lot of shit sort of happened. Well, that's the thing, a lot of shit happens, but also sometimes it's not stuff happening necessarily. It's just kind of how you view it, and
it's happened as what you're thinking is going to happen.
It's that's my
everything
main thing.
Around you is coloring how you express
it. It's the weather that day.
It's like we were saying when we went to that Brian Eno thing, and it said like art isn't the object or you, it's the relationship you have with it. Like, all the time.
And it's to the point where like I never want to usually share things with my parents art-wise because we just have very different taste. We all like musicals. That's pretty much the only connecting factor. But this movie was kind of a thing where I was even kind of like, because I want to see it in cinema. I still want to see it in cinema now again. I'll probably go see it this week. Where I was like, maybe I might ask my mother if she wants to see it, which is wild because she won't like the first 20 minutes. She will not like Act 3.
Yeah.
But more in the sense of, obviously, a lot of the stuff that is on my mind is on her mind as well.
And you think these like ideas
maybe,
will, like, connect with her?
Maybe, especially like the dance, the focus on Korea. It might be too much, honestly.
Yeah.
Because the cancer aspect of it all.
Yeah.
But it's art's so specific to who you are in that exact moment.
Yeah.
So in another week's time, you might rewatch it and love it, and I might rewatch it and realize I gassed it up too much, and things might have changed, and I might have thought
time will tell.
Yeah.
And even then, in 10 years you might hate it, and in another 10 years you might love it again.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of beautiful about it, because you change, but the object stays the same.
It's how you view it, like you said with Brian Eno.
Yeah.
It's your relationship with it.
It's a push and pull, baby.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Act 2?
I want to shout out, before we go on to Act 1, I just really like the final sentiment of, that is why God made the world. I'm not a religious person. I wasn't even a matter of like being raised religious. My family is just not religious at all, which is quite rare in our local area. Like more in the sense of you've been christened, haven't you? Even though you've never practiced or anything. But like even my grandparents aren't religious. And I just love that idea of, if there was a reason for anything to exist, it's for that moment of expression and dance, and I think that's beautiful.
Act 1,
Act
the
one.
final act.
The
That
final
contain multitudes.
act
Yeah.
do contain multitudes,
And-
which is a poem
It is a poem
by Walt
from
Whitman.
Walt Whitman from Song of Myself.
Song of the South.
Song of Myself.
Skibbity-dee.
Oh, no.
Skibbity-dee.
Oh, no.
Skibbity toilet.
Oh no. There's a line I really like on the first page of this that isn't in the movie, but I think is incredibly relevant for the entire story. What makes you think you're a main character in anything but your own mind?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that needed to be in there. Like in the film. I don't
Yeah.
see where they could have said that naturally.
Yeah.
Because in
I-
the book it's a kid saying it to Chuck.
I do just like after that, because it's talking about one of Chuck's girlfriends in college. Just like, she was a poet and sort of a nihilist. The relationship only lasted a semester.
Yeah, what did you think of this act, Viv? Because this is like most of the movie.
Yeah, it is. I do like it. I still think it's good. It's it relies on a child performance, which is terrifying.
Yes.
I really liked.
I love-
the performance.
But
I
however,
love his
yeah,
performance.
I did think
I
he
think-
puts it through.
I think Benjamin Pajak really does this well. I think it's really interesting how they hired him based on his dancing abilities, because young Chuck was the character they were struggling to cast the most, because they needed a child actor who could act and dance, and they went for actors who could dance, couldn't find anything, so they ended up going with a dancer who could act, which, to be honest, obviously if the acting is bad in this segment, it can entirely fall apart.
Yeah.
However, I think that does really help, because I think that Benjamin Pajak's dancing skills just shine, and you see a lot of his charisma through that, through his confidence.
Like, young Chuck is quite a subdued character anyway. It's not like he has a big, like in big traditional melodrama, he doesn't have like a big crying scene there. Well,
No one says
He,
a big
he
crying
doesn't
scene.
have like a I want song like in a Disney film
Yeah.
or
No.
anything.
like he still obviously has like big emotional scenes with like his grandparents.
Yeah.
Oh wait, actually no, he has that one scene with Mark Hamill. But he does that well.
Yeah.
I do really like his performance.
When it
I
comes
really-
to child performances, I just kind of want to get your opinion on this. I'm always of the sentiment that there are no bad child actors, just bad direction. I think it's always,
yeah, you just can't be
Yeah.
them for them.
yeah,
Yeah.
like.
I mean, you could like carry that sentiment to all acting.
I guess, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like we've even said about Gal Gadot, like
Yeah.
not a great actress, but you know, sometimes if you get the right director and the right scene and the right
It does-
line about ice cream,
It
Well,
just
helps
kind of
to know.
works, man. I like that scene.
Mike Flanagan has worked with children a lot, obviously in most of his films, but especially in his series, Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor. Half the cast are kids around the same age, if not younger, than what Benjamin Pajak is playing. He's directed kids in very sensitive environments as well. I'm thinking of Jacob Tremblay in Doctor Sleep. I don't want to spoil it for Garen.
Oh, is that him?
I think it is.
yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Do you know the scene?
I don't know the specifics, but I know something.
Okay, we'll get into it then. But like, it's a situation where it's like, oh, this is a very specific direction to be giving a kid.
Yeah.
And I think that his
They're-
experience
he's-
kind
they're
of
like-
shows
He's like on the like slide and the swing, and he's like having fun or something.
Yeah.
something very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like have fun.
Yeah, just keep the cameras rolling. He was
Yeah.
just having fun. And we
Yeah,
just,
we're just gonna have this like volleyball, just gonna play with it.
That whole section wasn't in the script. They just went with it.
yeah. We just saw the kid like having a great time, and we were just like, we need to capture this.
But no, I think Benjamin Pajak really, honestly, in my opinion, carries the segment. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, Mark Hamill's fantastic in what we see of him. However, and this is me being cynical, I really like Mark Hamill in this. I don't have the connection to Mark Hamill everyone else does, because I wasn't a Star Wars enjoyer
Do
growing
you
up.
think that's why he was picked for the role?
Not
That sort of-
necessarily, because
that
I
sort of sentimental father figure that a lot of people have with it.
yeah, not necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily go there, because I know that he was in, obviously in Full of House of Usher as a very different character. So I know that Mike Flanagan probably didn't specifically pick him for that reason. However, it does kind of give, especially when I watch the interviews, and so much is placed on Mark Hamill, and like he has like a big scene, but even then,
With Mark Hamill, I think the reason why they're trying to get him there as much as possible. It's something we're going to come into with reception. So just a little bit of sizzle. We are going to come on to why I think they're pushing Mark Hamill.
Yeah, I think I know the same sort of thing, and he plays a good character. It's a very interesting character. They give him lots to do.
He's playing the Flying Dutchman in the new SpongeBob movie.
Awesome.
Sick. Perhaps I'm also biased because obviously
You hate Star Wars.
Well, not only that, but I've hinted towards a lot of fact of like a lot of shit is going on with my grandfather right now, and this is a story between a boy and his grandfather, a relationship I hold very dearly. That perhaps seeing Mark Hamill is kind of, I don't know, maybe that's my bitterness shining through.
Yeah, but then again, you didn't like Boy and the Heron. You fell asleep and he played the grand uncle.
Did he? I genuinely didn't know he was in that.
I don't know if you watched the dub or the
We did, but I
think
don't.
we watched the sub.
Did we? That makes more sense. That's why I fell asleep.
Can't read.
I can't be reading.
You would have stayed awake for Robert Pattinson.
I don't think I could have slept. I don't think I could have slept through Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
What was Mark Hamill in recently? I saw him in something recently that I really quite liked his performance in, but I can't remember.
I like him in Fall of the House of Usher, but that's honestly, he plays a character who's in the background most of the time. He only really gets speaking scenes in the end.
It was not the 2019 Chucky.
Oh yeah, he plays. I hate that movie.
Life of Chucky. Hey, Chucky.
I have a queer kid.
It's the ball game, Chucky.
Gender fluid.
Gender fluid.
That's what I call piss.
But also, what's her name? She was really good.
Mia Sara.
Mia Sara.
She was wonderful.
She was very good. I really liked her. I really liked the acting in the segment. Even
Nice that she came out of retirement.
Yeah, this segment has. This is my favorite segment of the film, and it's. I think a lot of that is due to the acting.
It's the majority of the film.
Yeah, this segment does have like some of the best acting. Mia Sara. You've also got we see Kyle Lumley a little bit more as Sam Yarborough. He's good in Act 3, but like it's nice that we see him again. But especially, we said about it in the beginning, but Samantha Slayan as the dance teacher.
She brings so much joy.
She does. And like, as a teacher, as working with kids, and as someone who was a child and had strong relationships with specific teachers, seeing a teacher foster that emotion. Kate Siegel as well, less so, but in a different way.
Yeah, anyone that can channel that sort of like, they're in a bad situation, but they still want to do right by these kids. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, and that really speaks to me.
I think she does bring more to the role than what's in the book.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that. I mean,
like obviously she has like the whole bit with the kid who's walking
I
away,
really
which is
like
in the
that.
book, but it's done better in the film.
Yeah, I mean comedy just works more of her turning, pointing of like you're mine now.
Yeah, but no, she's got like she's fun, but she's got a bit of like an edge to her, and she's like obviously soft, but like.
Yeah, I really like the bit where
she contains multitudes.
She contains multitudes.
She's like a guardian to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is, and I like the advice scene that she gives him later. I like their relationship.
Yeah, I like that. That was like an odd thing that I was like, oh, that's not in the story.
Yeah. We'll talk about them because I feel like that's the biggest departure. Mark Hamill's monologue into that scene, but that is something I like in the film. But sorry, 2 seconds. I accidentally scrolled.
That's okay. I want to talk about. I really like her suit. I don't know if she's gay in this.
Oh,
but...
she's kind of
honestly,
giving
women
gay
in
streak.
suits is so fucking hot. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah,
it just is.
Yeah,
I love the costuming in this scene. I like little Chuck's suit as well.
Yeah.
That one shot.
Oh yeah, the one shot in the trailer.
No, we're gonna miss seeing that in the
We're gonna miss
cinemas.
seeing a big face.
I'm just like, do we change the artwork for the Instagram post?
You can if you want. No, I love the costuming in this scene. I love the colours, especially. I think, obviously we haven't talked that much about the... specifically when we're introduced to her through the dance, when we see the full, like, her teaching him to dance while cooking. Obviously, we haven't even talked about, like, the aspect ratio of it all either.
Yeah.
That's something I wanted to bring up, but I was, like, saving until we got to, like, this.
Yeah, well, do you want to talk about it now then? Seeing as we get to it?
So,
okay?
Act 3...
Yeah.
Was shot in 2:39:1. Act 2 was shot in 2:1, and then Act 1 was shot in 1:85:1. So it progressively gets more
wider.
Taller.
It gets
as
taller.
the story goes on chronologically, it gets wider.
But you could say as it goes.
Inverse, it goes.
You could actually say though, and this is my interpretation of it. With the aspect ratio is there's a line in Act 2 about how Chuck's life is narrower than he wanted, and he kind of expected that. So I kind of see it as, obviously in chronological order, it feels like the frame is getting narrower.
Yeah.
I think it could have gone a little bit further. Like,
4:3.
yeah, you could have gone for like the Academy ratio.
That would have been nice. Considering as well they're going for like the old classic musical look. That could have fit thematically.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
But-
obviously
but
it
then
was
again-
shot digitally. So
People have horrible taste and they don't like square aspect ratios, even though they're by far the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
not
then
that
you get-
they're
then
narrower.
sometimes
You
you get
have more
people-
headroom.
But then sometimes you get people on Twitter just like, oh, you need to watch Spider-Man in the open map. And
Yeah,
then people are just like, why are you watching this? You can see the trampoline underneath the Green Goblin.
That's
It's just
awesome.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, because you were not meant to watch it like this, but it's cool.
Yeah. Also, it looks really pretty. The colors in that open map version look
Yeah.
gorgeous. Anyway, now
Much
we're
like-
getting into,
much
we're
like
getting
the
into
colours.
extreme niche
Yeah.
territory here.
Much like the colours in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you see that. I mentioned the colours briefly during Act 3, but the whole thing of that's quite, monotone, not colourless, just specifically chosen to be a certain gradient. And then obviously it's a lot brighter in Act 2, and I feel like that comes full circle with this, where you get a lot of vibrance in the different ways, both on the inside scenes, but also outside when Chuck is dancing by himself at the end of the movie, and how, the stars are all shining. There's, a galaxy of colours. And it's almost like this fucking thing of, I saw on TikTok ages ago, I know I mentioned this to you, Viv, but I don't blame you if you don't remember, of TikTok videos have been like, this is what the world looked like when we were children, and it's basically just the saturation turned the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, when you
like that,
turn
but subtle.
yeah, it's like when you turn the saturation off, everything looks so grey, and it's like, yeah, of course it fucking does.
Yeah, you're blasting us with colors.
Yeah.
But it's like that, but subtle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that, but done purposefully.
I'm kind of at odds with the cinematography in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, nothing blew me away, and obviously, it's all in service of the story, and not to be like a purist, just like, oh, I wish it was shot on film. Yeah, I'd love it if everything was shot on film. That's
Yeah,
fair.
fair.
But
Yeah.
I don't know, something about it, just like at times I was like, this is a cool shot, and then just like, this just looks really flat and lifeless. And I know even Bolter, is a TV cinematographer primarily, who's not worked with Mike Flanagan before. I don't know if he's got like a regular cinematographer.
I'm not sure. I'd have to research that.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I was just like, okay, maybe it's just the style of it, kind of, and not to judge Mike Flanagan on what little I've seen of his work,
Yeah.
but especially bringing in a TV cinematographer, I don't know. It's kind of just got that look where it's like maybe it wasn't meant for the cinema screen. It was meant to.
You're saying it looks like a Netflix movie.
A little bit, yeah.
Interesting. Well, I mean,
And
to be fair, he's done a lot with Netflix and a lot with
Yeah.
TV, so that's.
I don't know. Maybe it's just like you got an eye for like that's how most people are going to be watching the movie that way anyway, because clearly it's not doing good in cinemas. Come on to that.
The best compliment I can give her is that I was just like kind of immersed into it. There were shots that genuinely thought like this looks gorgeous, and most of the time it didn't distract from me. I never thought I wasn't watching it thinking like, wow, this is ugly.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally,
I like how it looks.
maybe it's just me. Obviously, when I'm bringing up this stuff, I'm trying to maybe get a contrarian view so I can get your opinion on it, so I can kind of.
It's not that deep, bro.
I want to like it. I really wanna
Okay,
like it.
you get
I know.
it.
I'll
I know.
convince you.
It's just I'm trying to like figure out.
Yeah, that's okay.
We're not going to give you the secret key to unlocking
This is
liking this movie. This is something you got to come in your own terms.
I know.
Yeah. Speaking of the direction, speaking of cinematography, there is a specific shot in this that we got quite excited about.
Although
The split diopter.
I'm so happy you're bringing this up.
So I just did what I've been specifically building up.
I know.
We have, I don't know if you know this, Garen, our first ever message from a fan.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
this is a surprise for you. And
Where did this come from?
a good friend
Oh,
of mine. I was curious about this shot because Viv said when we first watched it, she thought it was digitally done.
I was specifically talking about the split diopter.
The split diopter shot, the
Yeah.
grandmother behind Chuck.
I didn't think it looked done in camera either.
But we're big lovers of the split diopter.
We love the split diopter.
We lose our shit.
And Mike Flanagan has used split diopter before. He uses it really well in Bly Manor. It's kind of the whole, not gimmick, it's just the style where he's kind of, he uses it a lot to show empty space.
Yeah.
Where, it's a series about ghosts, so makes sense.
If I was to put it on a scale, Brian De Palma is the king of split diopter.
That's completely fair.
Yeah.
Yes. However, I was really curious about whether that was true, whether it was done after the fact or whether it was done on lens. So anyway, I contacted Mike, and he did respond almost immediately. And so I said, "Hi, Mr. Flanagan. My friends and I love your work. We also share a love of split diopters. My friend thinks that the split diopter in Life of Chuck, incredible film by the way, is a filter rather than the real lens. Is she right? Of course, we either way love the movie and got excited to see the shot used, but I think it'd be fun to get the answer straight from the source." I sent it to her this time on Tumblr.
Is this legit?
Yeah.
And Mike Flanagan responded,
Oh shit!
then genuinely less than 24 hours. Because I was shocked, because Viv was with me when I found out.
I thought this was a bit.
No, Mike Flanagan has responded. Because
Mike, I take back all the things
him.
I've been saying about your movie.
I messaged him Thursday afternoon after we arrived. After we arrived in Reading, I was just like, I want to do this. I need to do it, otherwise he might genuinely. If there's a chance he's going to respond, I've got to do it now. And I wasn't going to mention it, not even to Viv, except the next morning we were getting breakfast at McDonald's. And anyway, less than 24 hours later, Mike Flanagan responded because Viv saw my reaction to looking at my phone.
He was delighted.
So I was like, I couldn't keep it a secret from Viv. And he said, "Nope, it's a real diopter. Tell your friend we don't cut corners."
Eat shit, Mike.
So, first
you
ever.
didn't think it was either.
No.
First ever writer
I'm not the
in.
friend in question.
Exactly.
Well, there we
So
are.
first ever writer in, Mike Flanagan has responded.
Damn.
Thank you, Mr. Flanagan.
Can't believe it's
I will
not
be
fair.
sending you so many messages in the future
Oh, God.
now that I know you are active on Tumblr.
And then he's going to be like, oh, fucking hell.
It's this guy again.
Hold on, when are we recording?
I will
Dr.
say-
Sleep. Ask him if he's busy on that day.
I will say, unfortunately, I didn't shout out the pod because I thought if I did, he wouldn't respond.
Yeah, he might have.
That's fair. Hey, Mike, are you busy on the 20th of December? It's Christmas, so you're not
he's
busy.
Christmas and he's got a family, so
Is he Jewish?
I don't know.
Hanukkah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Kwanzaa.
Don't know when Hanukkah
Whatever
is
you
as well.
celebrate.
Yeah.
Whatever you celebrate, Mike, we'll have you on.
So anyway, thank you, Mike Flanagan. I will continue to gas you up big time.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to be...
Indifferent to your work.
No, not indifferent, because like I said, I don't want to give my hand away with Gerald's game, but interesting work.
Yes.
I'm intrigued to delve more into your work,
Yeah, and we'll have lots of opportunities.
which I know you're listening to.
I love
this,
how we're saying, I love how we're saying this like he's listening to this, but
I'll send it to him.
okay.
Fuck it, why not?
Yeah, well, no, man.
I'll say we
I
talked about
genuinely
it.
think like even the disagreements were there. I think just genuinely like we're able to like bring so much of ourselves into this work. And
Yeah.
I
Well, that's
we
what I think
genuinely
is.
appreciate it.
I think that's why we spent so much time on it, and it might feel scattered into the sense of we're not spending a lot of time talking about the plot points. But honestly, that's why I like podcasts where they talk about more about their feelings, regardless of feelings about it that's influenced by it, rather than just going plot point beat by beat.
Yeah,
Breathe
I think just going plot point beat by beat is just like, why would you do that when...
We talked about obviously the acting, the two big things I feel like we could talk about now as we come up to the end of the film is sort of the dance itself, like that end sequence. Basically, Chuck's half of it and Mark Hamill's half of it.
Yeah.
So I feel like we should talk about Mark Hamill's bit of it now and then go into Chuck, because I feel like that leads into the other. So what are your thoughts, and especially yours, Garen, as someone who has read the short story, on Mark Hamill's math is art monologue?
The fuck is he trying to gas up math for? Math is
He's been paid off by Big Math.
big math, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I kind of like that. I do sort of... Look, we've played Countdown together.
We have played Countdown. I lost so badly.
Yeah. I'm a big math person, even though you did like...
I have a maths degree.
You got a maths degree and I got a B at GCSEs.
But maybe that's why you can enjoy it more. You can.
Yeah.
You're a casual math enjoyer rather than.
Yeah, it's just like we're just like if I send you a thumbnail for something, you're just like, oh, that looks good, and I'm just like I've slaved over it, just like, I fucking hate this. Why is that one pixel not
to gas up math, because I'm bad at it. However, when I was doing it, there were points where I just kind of got what I was doing, and there was sort of a flow state akin to doing art for me.
Math is satisfying, and I don't disagree. I think the math is art, as the monologue says. I think it's really interesting, honestly, from the perspective of someone who has studied maths.
Yeah,
it's problem solving. It is. You know, it's like
you're giving
a
a bunch of tools,
yeah,
and you've got to like deconstruct it in order to get an answer from
and
it.
Granted, I don't think schools teach math right, because I especially get the whole thing of, you know, oh, why do we need to learn this? We're never going to use this in real life, and I disagree with that. There is so much more to math than there is. Unfortunately, that's just a problem with the education system. But I think that this monologue is interesting because I think I'm not going to say it wants you to side with his grandfather, but it's almost like he's saying these beautiful things about how math is art, and like, Chuck, you've got art in you. But he's saying it basically because he doesn't want him to pursue dance. He wants him to pursue something that's going to give him a job.
We've seen the trailer a bunch, and I went to see movies without you. Sorry.
It's fine.
We'll do the same.
Yeah, I went to see X-Men, and they showed the Life of Chuck trailer.
Yeah.
And interestingly, in the trailer, he's like, you have heart in you.
Yes,
which obviously in the movies,
that.
You've got art in you. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
I can see why that's been edited for the trailer, but...
He actually said you have fart in you, but they didn't want that in the trailer.
But yeah, it's and it's interesting how the sense of, like, it's almost this beautiful moment, but it's also kind of heartbreaking because he's kind of not crushing his dreams on purpose, but it's that sort of way, and
it's that way parents crush your dreams.
Of like, you can like dancing, but really,
is there a career
it's not a career in it. The world doesn't need dancers; it needs accountants.
It's the kind of soul crushing where you think you're doing the correct thing by putting them on the correct path rather than.
It's the kind of thing where I think Chuck, obviously, had he lived longer than his 39 years, he may have got to that state. And like, he does see there being an art in it, even though it's, to him, it's just, he does it, he's good at it, it's not his passion.
There are moments where he appreciates what his grandfather's saying, especially near the end, where he does say, like, he's looking at the stars and he says, like, maybe they were just math, but they also danced. He contains multitudes. It can be both. Yeah. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
I think with math, just to get my 2 cents out there,
what are your thoughts on math?
Math is so much more interesting outside of the standard education system.
Yeah, I agree.
You could literally say that about everything.
I know, but like,
because like, you're not
the standard education system just sucks.
You're not being standardized. You can come out.
I know. Like,
you can tackle it how you want.
I know it's more like relevant in your life to be told, like, okay, so this is how you subtract. This is how you work out the radius. Just. The whole like radius, diameter, circumference, that stuff I just like.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know what that just didn't work for me.
And I think that's completely fair.
Math didn't work for me. Not just this movie.
Yeah.
But it contains multitudes. Like, math is boring, but also it's fucking interesting.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's the thing. That's why I think it's interesting, because he's not trying to upset Chuck. He's not saying like, you're going to be an accountant and you're going to like it. And he's not like, no, I'm going to be a dancer. He's trying to show him what he sees in it. However, then when we see Chuck later in life... yeah, Billy Elliot. I just want to dance in the ballet.
But Margaret Thatcher won't let me.
Yeah. But we see Chuck then, you know, at 39 years old, or near death. Not that he knows, but we know that he's near death. And dancing, it's a muscle memory, but it's something that he doesn't do anymore. When really, he could, even as a hobby. But it's like, in a sense of, like, we leave behind a lot of things for career.
Yeah.
And it feels like the whole thing I spoke about earlier of, I'm not saying there should be a movie about how Chuck should have followed his dreams and become a professional dancer. I think that would be antithetical to my point, because that's still just a career.
Yeah.
But in the sense of, Chuck could have done both. He could have danced more.
I think he should have gone to Las Vegas and tried to make it as a showgirl. And then joined Kyle MacLachlan.
And get fucked in a pool. That would have been awesome.
Yeah. That'd be a much better movie.
That would be. Showgirls.
Hot take: Showgirl's better than Life of Chuck. Sorry, I had to
Why do
lay
you
it
have
out
to
on
put?
the table.
Why do you have to put two baddies against each other?
But I do like how sorry. But I do like how that monologue as well feeds into a sort of a minor conflict that's not there in the book, about how Chuck is then self-conscious about dancing at the dance with Kat, where he almost goes straight from like being really positive about his expression of dance to the point where he's inspiring others, even teaching the teacher how to do the moonwalk. And when our parental figures kind of say like, they get this idea in our heads of you shouldn't be doing this, it does kind of make you stop and think like, no, maybe I'm right, maybe I shouldn't, even if just for fun.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
because you just associate it with like sort of this embarrassing memory.
I've got that. I mean, I'm someone who did go into maths in university, and I've made my choices. I've lived with them, but I didn't want to do it. I would have rather done media studies. Would that have got me a job? Probably not. But then, what else does it matter?
If it makes you feel better, man, we're all in the same position.
That's what I mean. So in the end, what would it have mattered? But I like that aspect of Chuck's self-consciousness, and then it being a teacher to encourage him.
Yeah.
And not even the sense of like she's saying like, go on, you should do it. But she's like, if you're not going to do it, at least be honest about why you're not doing it. And it's facing the truth that makes him then decide to dance.
He looks up to the stars. And
he does.
He
looks up and we see that frame. Yeah, he sees the stars dancing. Exactly. He sees the maths and the dance going together.
Yeah.
And I really like
Everything
that aspect
is connected.
of him. It is. It's all connected. And I love that dance that him and Kat do together. I like his giant boots that he gets. And he's still tiny compared to her. I like her taking her shoes off.
Yeah.
And I like the shots of her boyfriend being a little
why is he dressed like Marty McFly?
I thought that. I thought he looked familiar.
It's the under the sea dance.
Why? Okay. Because it's not like a costume thing. They're all dressed up normally, and then he's just looks like Marty McFly. Does Mike Flanagan just hate Back to the Future, and he just wants? He's like,
I don't know. I'll message him.
hey,
Mike, do you hate Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Why? It's
Why?
a perfect movie.
Yeah.
I like the line. It's in the book and in the film as well. He was about when they said about him scratching the floor, saying he's too light on his feet to leave any. I just like that.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
Yeah.
That's cute.
I like that. In the movie, I was just like, something about the actress who plays Kat. I was just like, I recognize her from somewhere, but I couldn't figure out why. And I'm just like, oh, it makes complete sense why I didn't recognize why, because she was blue and also filmed like in 2017. She's in Avatar 2.
Is she?
She's one of the kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's the youngest one.
Oh, really?
Which goes to show how long ago they filmed those Avatar movies.
Damn.
Because she is literally like 7 years old.
Oh, really?
In that.
Crazy.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that. I was thinking she looked familiar, but I just kind of assumed it was like general kid face.
Kid face.
Not as a teacher who's worked with hundreds of children by this point. The amount of
Is
kids
this a
I see
slur
where
that
it's like...
teachers have?
No, it's
Oh,
just
you've
the
got
amount of
kid
kids I
face.
see where I'm like, have I taught this one? Especially because I've taught in like every school in the county.
That's what happens when I see any sort of chubby kid, and I'm just like, wow, it's the Rizzler.
me when I look in the mirror.
Yeah. Wow.
One
wrote
thing
in
I
my
do want to
notes.
mention
Yeah, go on.
is with the dancing, with his bubby, he's watching all those movies. On
Yes, I
VHS,
love that book.
including ones with Rita Hayworth, CoverGirl, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
It's nice that Mike had the foresight to reference the 2 episodes we had done previous to this.
He did.
Yeah,
I
he knew
cannot
this.
believe we did not notice Christine.
I know.
She's so bright.
Yeah, when you sent that photo, I was just like, damn, we
Yeah.
are
was-
blind.
that was
It's because we were on the other side of the cinema.
Yeah, we were focusing on like where the shot was kind of trying to get
Also,
us to focus.
But it was just crazy
my
how-
chair was fucked. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember you saying.
I think that's why I didn't like it.
That'll
I was in a
stick up
bad
your
mood
ass.
because of the seat.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just how much we were watching Christine,
I
and the
know.
car was right fucking there.
Yeah, just in a shot. And it lingers as well. It's not like a quick shot.
Yeah, we'll come back and watch Life of Chuck in like a year's time, and we're just like, how did we miss the like full 5 seconds of Barlow from Salem's Lot, just staring at the screen?
He somehow references every Stephen King story.
I'm sure he will at some point.
I'm sure he will.
I did see in the trailer for It, Welcome to Derry.
Yeah,
there was
that's
just,
got a
bus
most
for
obvious Shawshank
Shawshank
reference.
State Prison.
Oh my god.
That's like too egregious in my opinion.
Yeah.
I saw comments hyped about that, and like I
they're
like
gonna cross them over.
don't get me wrong, I like a reference as much as the next person. However, I like it when it is a little subtle. I like those stupid fucking 50. I hate it. Well, I hate it, but I like it when they're like 50 references you missed. But I hate it when that's then the most obvious shit ever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, give me some deep cuts. Give
So
me
what
some
we-
shit
so
I didn't
and-
When
know.
Superman mentions that he's got a cousin, he's referring to Supergirl, who
Yeah.
is
So
His cousin.
Andy was in prison whilst fucking Pennywise was doing his own shit? Is that what they're saying?
To be fair, probably. He was in prison for like 50 years.
Yeah. And he comes out and then it's just like Killer Clown. It's just like, damn, man. Put me
Wild.
back in.
I know Andy Dufresne would make of Christine. Be like, damn, that's a car.
That's a good car. Oh yeah, because they
Get
wouldn't have
busy
been
living,
before.
get busy driving.
It's kind of what the theme of Life of Chuck is in a way, as well, in a way.
Yeah.
Living and dying.
Yeah, Stephen King really likes stories about that.
Well, it makes sense, especially, he says in the introduction about, like, he's getting on in years.
Yeah.
It's going to be sad.
It's gonna be real sad.
gonna be a sad episode of the
I hope he
podcast.
dies whilst we're doing this, so at least we have something. We can turn it into content.
Yes. Wow. Wow.
Wow, Viv. Mike's never going to write in again.
Sorry, did I say the quiet part out loud?
Right,
No, he'll die right after we finish covering his last adaptation.
Oh,
Damn.
We'll finally get to the Dark
We're
Then
Tower.
we'll do it a fucking appendix then.
we're keeping him alive
Yeah.
by doing this. We're fueling his energy.
There we are.
Speaking of alive, just to bring us sort of towards the end of
Yeah,
the
keep
movie. There's a really interesting bit.
I've not even got to
In
my
the-
girlfriend's anecdote.
Damn.
Oh yeah. I'm excited about that.
There's a bit in the book I really like that isn't in the film, but it's a line saying about how when Chuck is telling his wife about how he got the scar in his hand.
I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah.
Why is he putting so much emphasis on it? I don't quite understand. Is it going for a more just like he was feeling joy and he was being punished for that at some point?
No, I think it's more in the sense of it's the fact that he kind of wanted to make the scar grander by telling this big story about like how he got it, rather than just I was dancing and I hit a fence, because in Chuck's head he saw the scar on like the dying man. That's how he knew it was him.
Okay.
Because otherwise he could have just assumed that was anyone.
Right.
The fact that the
That
scar
went over
was
me.
that's fair.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. And in the book it says Chuck's wife didn't care much about whatever happened to him in middle school. The doctor said he would probably be dead before Christmas. That was what mattered to her. And I thought that really spoke to the fact of like how we view life and death. I mean, even myself, I've been saying about how my grandfather's getting on in years, and that's been really hard, especially this last week. And thinking about like the future of like time running out and death, and it's like his wife thinking about it rather than thinking about the past and the memories. And that's something that Kate Siegel brings up in the where she actually teaches him what I contain multitudes means, where she says like what's in between my hands, your brain, but what's in the brain, and basically leads down to like everyone you've met, everything you know, all your memories.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting. It kind of plays into the whole, all the things to do with the fact that we're going backwards. We're working our way through his
It's
past.
it's a story about reflection.
Yeah, and even one of the most common tropes, arguably, to do with death is the whole life flashing before your eyes thing.
Yeah.
And, we're told that Chuck doesn't remember a lot of his life. And yet some of the biggest parts of his life are to do with him dancing.
Yeah.
How he got that scar while he was dancing. Him dancing on the street.
It's interesting what we don't learn about Chuck a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like how he meets his wife, or like his
We don't see a lot of his life.
or like his.
And that
his
might be
relationship.
why in the film they don't really do that scene that we
Yeah.
mentioned earlier.
Yeah, maybe. It's just to kind of...
Focuses
It's like
more
the
on him.
idea of him and like what he feels rather than what he has experienced.
Yeah.
And, I think that's interesting. And like you said about how it kind of puts an emphasis on the scar when it's like, yeah, realistically, it's nothing. Like, we've all got marks and bruises of things,
Yeah.
And
That if-
Hamels.
Yeah, and Hamels. It took sex, right? And it's like...
Stupid joke.
this kind of thing of, well, how does it matter how we got them, really? But it's just how we view our own memories. To her, it's like a whatever. My husband's dying. That's what I'm focusing on. To him, it's this big moment.
And it's all about the memories.
Yeah.
And you might even want to say, here's to the ones here today. Here's
to the ones that we lost on the way, because the tears bring back all the memories
of everything we've been through.
Toast to the ones today.
Because the trees bring back all the memories. And the memories bring back you.
I love Venom 3.
There's a turn around.
There is also a line I like in that sequence of him getting the scar and dancing. And I feel like they actually do kind of translate that with him dancing with wide arms. And lines just Chuck dances as if to embrace everything.
Yeah.
And I like that.
One thing I do kind of want to mention, now that we're kind of wrapping up on that section of the story, there isn't the scene in the book where Chuck goes up to the cupola and his grandfather finds him and sees himself dying. Also, the way his grandfather doesn't really do the accounting in the book. He has like a basement where he does like woodwork.
Oh,
that's different. But I guess it works to translators. He's an accountant and
he got it from him. Yeah. Like the same way like he got the dancing from his
grandmother.
Yeah, exactly.
We are like, and the same way that Chuck is kind of split into Marty and Felicia as well. It's like we take a lot of things from people, we give a lot of things to people. But yeah, go on.
With that, obviously the whole point is you go into the cupola, and whether it's clear as day, it's real, or it's theoretical, it's mystical, whatever, however you want to interpret.
Yeah.
It's all those things.
Yeah, it contains multitudes.
Yeah.
It's a great out for like anything.
Honestly.
Yeah, it contains multitudes. Fine.
Yeah.
Fuck you. It contains multitudes.
Yeah. Oh, well, I enjoyed the multitudes and Bring Her Back.
Disagree. Didn't have enough multitudes. It's paper thin.
It had multiple tudes.
Arguably,
it had multiple dudes.
No, arguably one singular tude.
Yeah.
I don't know was it necessary for that? Did that add some more tension for you upon a rewatch? That scene obviously not being present.
I'm in between on that scene. I don't necessarily think it added tension, because it's not even adding mystery, because by that point we basically know what it is. Yeah. We have that understanding of, okay, he's seeing like someone's death, presumably his own. It's a pretty safe assumption to make. I think it's more so the idea of, for me, the interpretation. I've even had this in my notes about how, we're seeing it from Chuck's point of view. The grandfather is seeing his own death, and that is terrifying, but it feeds back into that whole idea of, we know we're going to die. Mm-hmm. An old person knows that they're closer to death than most other people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Look at what Stephen King has said. Look at like I said, all the stuff about like my own grandfather. And that is a scary thing to face, but also we're seeing that through the eyes of a child. His grandfather is trying to protect him almost from this idea of death, and we do that with children.
Yeah,
that's we kind of dodge around the question, and he refuses to let Chuck look because he's afraid of what Chuck might see. And when Chuck does see his own death, it's not terrifying; it's peaceful. Whereas, perhaps you could even factor that into the fact that...
it's not like when Mark Hamill sees it. It's like shrouded in darkness. It's shot like a horror scene.
Yeah. He sees like the bread.
Yeah, the bread and the broken body and stuff like that. But then that's also like, could that be just an older person's understanding of death? Could that be the fact that we're seeing Mark Hamill through Chuck's eyes?
Yeah.
So, Chuck is seeing his grandfather and assuming what he's seeing there must be terrifying. Because obviously... that's the thing with the mystery of the cupola. Chuck doesn't know what it even looks like in there. At the end of the film, when he opens it, it's bright and open and airy, and that's why it's kind of peaceful. So I don't even think it could be a literal sense of, it's terrifying, the thing that Mark Hamill is seeing, more in the sense of Chuck is scared because this thing has been built up in his head. Death gets built up in our head. And, as a child, you can't comprehend that. As an adult, we can barely comprehend it. I think it's almost a wave of children learn that they're going to die, so they're fucking terrified because the idea of... it's like when you learn that the sun is going to blow up one day and you're like, fuck, I don't want that to happen, even though it's going to happen in a million years.
We never really truly come to understand it.
Yeah, I think that it's... as a child, you're terrified. As you're sort of in the middle of your life, you know,
I think when you
it's-
hit midlife, I think it hits.
yeah, I think we're in that stage
think
now
there's
where we're
three
kind of like,
scoops of-
yeah, it's early adulthood. You're like, there's so much time ahead of me. Midlife crisis, kind of acceptance, and then you're gonna get
I'm not
to an
fucking
age
death's
where you're just
doorstep.
like, it could be tonight. Like, that's almost what terrifies me. The idea of, I hope by that age. I mean, it's easy to say about acceptance, but geez, the idea of, you're going to bed every night not knowing if you're going to wake up in the morning, and you could argue that now, but also, no, there's just a way higher likelihood with old people.
Odd thing to sort of get into, but with this, obviously, it's very optimistic, and it's just like, oh, you should not be, nihilistic. Live each moment, and yeah, we are going to die, but that doesn't matter. You got to
That's
think
not
about
the point. Yeah.
Yeah. I decided to kind of wrap my head around this. I watched the Frowning Friends episode of Smiling Friends.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Well, and that they keep pushing a sort of nihilistic.
The
view.
nihilistic viewpoint, and then at the end when they're faced with death, it's just like,
It's all a front.
yeah, it's all front, and then you just start pissing your pants. And
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. I don't think that like really helped like me in my understanding of
how
this,
we-
but it's just sort of like, I don't know. Maybe because sometimes I do see myself
lot
as a
of-
bit of a nihilist or a pessimist.
A lot of people, like the way people react to death is like there's multiple ways it could, and one of them is just sort of an embrace of it. Another is just sort of a denial of any sort of importance to anything that is happening to us, and saying it's all random. And in a way that neither of them are wrong.
There's many quotes I can think of. Fleabag, for example, in the season 2 of Fleabag, when she's given a confessional to the priest. If you haven't seen Fleabag, this might not make sense, but she essentially says,
The
like,
priest is hot.
the priest is hot. She's not religious, and she essentially says, I understand that on a fundamental level, nothing I do matters, but I'm still scared. Midnight Mass is another one. I won't spoil the end of Midnight Mass, but there's a character who is, religious, believes in the afterlife, and yet when the end of the story, death comes, if people know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
when death comes, she's terrified
Yeah.
to face it. It's one of those things you can't predict how you'll respond, and because it's the great unknown.
And maybe sometimes I just sort of, at least going from my own personal viewpoints, like I know death is like something that everybody has encountered, whether it be friends, family. At least with the like really close, relationships like your parents, grandparents, siblings. I haven't lost anyone that way. Like my grandmother passed in COVID like 4 years ago. That's probably the closest to like someone really close to me passing away. Like I've lost people, but no one like that close. But then in a way I've lost people, but not through death.
I was just about to say, I think that's what's interesting about this story is it's a tale of life, it's a tale of grief, almost preemptive grief. We're kind of told, Marty and Felicia, they're grieving the world before it ends. Chuck's wife is grieving him before he's gone. Same with his son. And I think that that's natural in a way. Like, we do grieve people that we've lost, whether through death, whether through just life separating us. I speak to maybe like, I only speak to people from university that I did my 4th year with, and even then maybe like once or twice a year on like a message. For the first 3 years of uni, I had lots of close friends that I just don't speak to anymore, mostly because COVID just separated us. And I sometimes get that feeling of, should I reach out? Because it's the whole idea of, almost a part of your life has gone.
Yeah.
It's,
And it's odd because, not to get like too much into my personal circumstances, but like my dad's alive. He's not dead, but that relationship is lost.
Yeah.
I'm never going to have that. And on the one hand, there's nothing stopping me from going and speaking, but there's this, I don't know, it's like almost insurmountable that to get to that stage. Like I only ever see him at funerals at this stage, and I'm kind of like in the process of that with my mum, like just losing her
yeah.
at this point. And I've tried
in a way, it could be kind of harder just because, like, it feels like you're making a choice not to engage in that relationship. Whether,
Yeah.
like, you could always do it, but then you never do. Due to, like, whatever circumstance. It's not like death, where it's just like, that's final. That relationship is conclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, in that way, obviously not to keep bringing this up, because this is not Stephen King related, but Bring Her Back. I think that's why I had such a visceral reaction to that movie, because it reminded me of my grandmother, who I do have a very strong relationship with. She's probably my favourite person on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that just speaks to how, like we said earlier, about when art touches us and how it is effective. Bring Her Back worked with you because of that. This worked with me because, especially the last week, a lot of stuff has happened with my grandfather, who is probably the person I'm closest with.
Yeah.
So, it is just circumstantial, and, that's the powerful thing with art. And even though whether this episode's long-winded, it might sound very rambly, but I also think it's important to talk about that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that we've actually, like, talked about this and watched the movie and read the book, because it has, even though I was at a point where I couldn't really formulate my opinions on where I felt with it, it's at least given me some introspection.
Yeah.
And
this prompted some of the best analysis we can do, which is, like, bringing stuff up about ourselves that we sort of suppress, like, a lot of the time.
I'll say,
Mike, if you are listening to this, just like, obviously, when it comes from people saying their views on things, we're all a history of our past experiences, lived, everything we've encountered and consumed, and that's what builds us up to who we are. So when I say that it didn't work for me, it's not like an active, like, this is bad. It's
not a dislike.
It's just, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. And I think that that's the good thing with art. It gives you the opportunity to talk about, frankly, feelings. I think a lot of people don't talk about their feelings enough, especially men. And I've got to say, not to hype us up too much, but if someone might listen to this episode and think, we're not talking about Stephen King enough, which, is the conceit of this podcast.
We promise we'll be getting onto some horror stuff soon.
Yeah, but I also think that it's equally important to have a space, wherever that space may be, to, open up about things, and whether that's through films, whether that's in other circumstances.
If we didn't have our own personal lived experiences to talk about, why would we be talking about these? And why would we have these points to share with people to have a podcast anyway?
We spoke about this, I alluded to the conversation we had about art in general, Viv, and, like, reviews of art on YouTube, but it's the whole idea of objectivity, and how, in a way, a lot of times it doesn't exist.
No.
And people kind of equate morality of, like, this thing good, this thing bad. If you like this thing, you are a bad person. And it's like, well, no, a lot of times opinions are so vast.
I've seen so many things, so many pieces of art that people consider, like, masterpieces of perfection that make me feel nothing. And I've seen the most scuff, most amateurish thing that have made me cry. It has nothing to do. The formalist elements can be important when used correctly, but there's something beyond that that's, like, way more important.
Well, to bring us sort of close, there's two final notes I want to do. I just want to shout out, I think the final line of the story and the movie is beautiful. It's a line that's repeated a lot, less so in the book, more so in the film. But I just like that after Chuck sees himself, he was just gone, insisting that he'd never been in there in the first place. It's like death, We, like, once it's gone, obviously you leave behind memories, leave behind people, but it is almost like we were never there to begin with, in the grand scheme of things. And I like the final lines that Chuck's give, saying, "I will insist that he wasn't, and I will live my life until my life runs out. I am wonderful, I deserve to be wonderful, and I contain multitudes." And I think that's just, like you said, we spoke about schmaltzy and things getting too schmaltzy, and I think that is just the best way to end this movie, because I wouldn't have liked it to go for something grand and sort of big to the end. For the ending just to be this version of Chuck we've only known for a few minutes as well.
Just to confront death. And
just to confront it and just say, I will live my life.
Yeah.
Regardless, because that's basically what we all do. But I especially like the whole, not only am I wonderful, but I deserve to be wonderful. It's like the whole thing of we'll deserve to live. And another final note I wanted to give is the film is dedicated to Scott Wampler, who was actually another podcaster. He was a podcaster and a film journalist, and he was the co-host of the Kingcast, which is another Stephen King podcast.
No, we're not giving free promos.
Well, he unfortunately passed away last year. This film is dedicated to him. And he was also a writer for Fangoria. I just kind of wanted to mention him as well. Because I think that, it kind of just speaks to the whole theme of the film to do with death, to give a shout out to someone who really valued Stephen King's work and passed away before the film could be released.
Now, I do just want to quickly go through reception and...
Yes.
Not necessarily legacy, because...
It's been out.
It's barely a year since it premiered at TIFF.
Yeah.
But that is where we're going to start with TIFF. So, it premiered September 6th, 2024, and won the Audience Award for Best Film of 2024. Now, there were 3 movies nominated for that award. The other 2 got nominated for the Best Picture Oscar last year. One of them was actually the winner. That was Anora. So it beat Anora and Emilia Perez.
Well, I'm glad it beat Emilia Perez. I personally... I wouldn't necessarily say this Best Picture for Oscar. I think that Anora definitely deserved Oscar Best Picture.
No,
but I probably
this isn't a down thing. This is just not.
There's a different.
There's
different category.
There's a genre of Best Picture winner.
Yeah.
And I don't think that speaks to the quality of the film whatsoever.
No.
I was shocked Anora won, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was surprised Anora won.
Yeah, because that's actually a good movie.
Yeah.
One thing, though, is that particular award, the People's Choice Award, it's very much gone hand in hand with Oscar Best Picture nominees. Yeah. There hasn't actually been a film that's won that award since 2011 to not be nominated for the Oscar for Best Picture. I think this is going to buck the trend. I don't think it's going to get the nomination.
No.
Especially no.
I think, one, they released it in June. It's kind of well regarded, but it's not made a big splash.
Yeah.
But this does bring me on to...
Oh, the Girlfriend Connections?
Girlfriends, yeah. Girlfriends was the first winner of that award.
Oh, was
in
it?
1978.
What, TIFF?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yes.
It deserves it.
Yeah. I didn't know if you would find that link, but as soon as I found it, I was just like, cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, so as far as the reception goes, critically, pretty good. On Rotten Tomatoes, got 81% with critics, 88% with audiences. Metacritic has got 76 out of 100 with critics and 6.9 out of 10 with audiences. Metacritic's got a weird system. Whatever. IMDb is 7.4 out of 10, Letterboxd 3.7. So it's generally around
positive.
the same ballpark everywhere. But like I said, it didn't make a big splash.
No.
So box office wise, it has earned in America 6.7 million domestic and internationally 6.4 million. For a total of 13.1 million worldwide at time of recording. This is subject to change, but I don't see it changing.
Well, the thing is, in America, it also opened...
Also, we don't know the budget. I don't think it would be below that, though.
Now, the budget, I haven't been able to find this officially. I found one source that claimed it was 45 million. That seems way too high.
Yeah.
I don't believe that to be correct. I would say, if I had to hazard a guess, between 20 and 30.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't
but either way, if it's on the lower end of that estimation, this is a bomb. But that didn't hurt Shawshank in the long run.
But then the thing is, this movie...
we don't have Blockbuster anymore.
Yeah. Well, this movie also opened with, in America at least, How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they have share an audience, but I'm saying, that doesn't help. That movie made
also,
a fuck ton of money.
Also, probably the general struggle of how to market this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's.
Because it also opened with America Against Materialists, which, granted, it's obviously not on the same scale as How to Train Your Dragon, but it's just kind of an easier film to understand based on the marketing.
I think that kind of goes for the more we don't want to watch the big blockbuster audience.
Yeah, it's going for the A24 audience, which is its own demographic now.
Yeah. Because A24 make all the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All their movies, they're all made by one entity, which is A24.
Yeah. But you know what it is. It's a genre now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good. It's alternate. It's you know what alt rock was in the 90s to like
Yeah.
global,
Yeah.
like pop.
I just like, oh, A24's out. I'm into Mubi.
I'm into
Movie.
I'm
I do
into- I'm
love
into-
a
I got my
movie.
movie
Neon.
bag.
I do love a movie.
Have you got a movie bag?
I don't have a movie bag. I
No.
wish I did.
I was actually going to say that's really cool if you did.
That'd be really cool if you did.
Yeah. Mubi socks. I look pretty good.
Oh, that'd be tight. Moo and B.
I mean, it's just kind of like Mubi, just dots.
Yeah.
I gotta give it to movie though. I got some really good branding.
Yeah. No, I do like their branding. Yeah, there's not really a lot to talk about with reception.
Yeah.
We don't know
But-
what the legacy is. Maybe this will be forgotten
Yeah.
in a year.
Maybe.
But we will have more to talk about on the next episode of All Hail the King. We're actually going to have 2 films to talk about.
Well, yeah, it's going to be fucking a lot.
two films.
2 films, and it's part 1 of 2. So the next 2 episodes are going to be talking
Hope
all
you like
about...
vampires.
yeah,
Yeah, we're
Salem's
talking
Lot.
Twilight.
Yeah, we're talking about all the Twilight films.
Yeah, so in the next episode, we're going to be talking about the 1979 Salem's Lot.
Yes.
And the sequel to that, Return to Salem's Lot. And then the following following episode, we will be talking about the subsequent adaptations in 2004 and 2024.
Yes, very exciting. I'm currently a third of the way through Salem's Lot. And let me just say, it's going to be interesting to talk about. That's all I'll say. Which, I think all of these are always interesting, except when we eventually get to a stinker.
Yeah.
And I don't mean in the stinker in the sense of a bad story or a bad film. I mean in the sense of I fear one day we're going to get to one and just be like, there's nothing to say. But I'm sure that won't
Here's
happen.
our 20-minute episode. We're just going to go on tangents.
Yeah. You'll know.
Which
yeah.
I get. Honestly, there are podcasts that I listen to are just like, clearly they don't like this one because they're talking about, I don't know,
I love it when they go on tangents. and
talking about
stuff.
Subway or something.
I was
It
in
works
Subway.
in mysterious ways.
I ordered a sandwich.
I was thinking of going to Subway earlier. I was kind of fancying one.
Never do. It's never worth it, man.
No, I used to work there. I know what they do.
Oh, damn.
Spill the beans.
They didn't spill the beans, actually. The beans were...
Pretty well preserved.
No, it was just like, oh, here's the meatballs. Oh, we didn't use them all. Well, let's remove that Thursday date and stick on the Friday.
Oh my
no.
God.
Oh,
That's right.
Genuinely, it's messed up. Also,
Wild.
very specific to just us here. In Wales, you have to display your health rating.
yeah.
But in England, it's not mandatory.
Wild.
Really?
It's advised that you do it, but you don't have to.
I feel like that would make it so if I didn't see the health rating, I would assume it's bad.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
honest.
And then in
Why
Scotland,
was it like a 1 in the one you were working in?
no, we didn't have one. Well, we must have had one, but it wasn't up on the thing. But in Scotland, they have a different system. So instead of 1 to 5, it's just pass or fail.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's like if you
But
pass it.
I like numbers. I like ratings.
I know.
That's
What's
why I
like a 4 versus a 5?
I think they should do a letterbox thing where you could like log in.
I give this Subway a 3.5 with a heart.
Yeah. You know, also, I love when I see someone rate something like 2.5 and a half. I'm like, what do you feel?
Yeah, I mean,
How can you be that middling and like it?
honestly, I don't use the heart. I don't like films on Letterboxd.
Yeah, we do the opposite, don't we? Because
yeah.
But
we don't really
honestly,
give numbers.
this is one where I'd probably give it a 2.5 and a heart.
Yeah,
Fair dude.
Yeah, it's just like I didn't love the movie, but I kind of appreciate
I
it.
gave it a
You love
half.
the conversation around
Yeah.
it though.
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
It
no,
means-
it has been very
Well, yeah.
therapeutic in a way.
Well, the thing is, I didn't give it 5 stars, and like all the other films on my top 4, I think I've given 5 stars. And yeah, if I had to give it a number rating, I wouldn't give it 5 stars because it's not. I'm not. It's less what the film is and more how it makes me feel that is speaking to me at the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch Pearl and then it'll regain its spot, or maybe something else will take. All I know is I can never get rid of the Digimon movie from my top 4.
No.
Okay, so important thing: Pearl, Life of Chuck. Which one's got the better dance?
It's really hard.
Oh, damn.
Because on a technical level, Life of Chuck, but also
That dance is
fucking
iconic.
Migot's face during that dance.
Yeah.
And then like the soldiers coming in.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm a star.
Theatre does
I'm a
things.
star.
You do like theatre influenced
I do.
horror adjacent movies.
Honestly, yes, I do love theatre. I think that I was going to go very on the offense then. Fuck it, I'll go on the offense. I think people who are put off by theatrics are kind of cowardly in the sense of, and it's like, why are they dancing? Why are they singing?
Because
it's expression. Have you never just felt such emotion? You just want to release like that. Like, come on, it's like the whole thing. I love musicals. I love MGM musicals. I love musical films. I'm glad that this film committed to the dancing.
Yeah.
And like, it winds me up when people are like, why are they doing this? It's like, because it's the genre.
Well, you just
it's like, oh, you're watching an action film, like
singing and dancing.
The Joker is stuck in Arkham, and he's made friends with Harley Quinn. Of course, they're gonna dance.
Yeah, imagine watching fucking an action movie. Granted, maybe people do. But imagine watching, I don't know, fucking Bourne Supremacy and being like, why is he chasing that plane? And like, why is he fighting? Why did they just talk about it? He
chases a plane in Bourne Supremacy. I think you're thinking of Bourne Ultimatum.
I don't know. You could put a gun to my head and I could tell you anything about those films except his name is, Bourne. Oh my god, it's Jason
Jeremy
Bourne.
Renner's in the fourth one.
Is he? Damn.
Bourne, more like bored. Jason
damn right.
Bored.
Oh, have you ever seen the fifth one?
There's 5?
The fifth one is so boring. It's one of the most boring movies I've ever seen.
My mum took me to see Ultimatum in cinemas when I was like...
When you're like 9?
Yeah. I was the most bored I was ever in cinema.
I mean, I think it's a decent movie, but as a 9-year-old, no, that'd be boring as shit.
Damn.
I kept going out and just sitting on the sofa outside.
Showcase?
Yeah, it was a
That's how I felt during A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah.
That's the only movie I've actively tried to sleep through.
And you failed.
I failed.
You could do it these days.
I could. Oh, nowadays, God, yeah. I have to fight to stay awake during movies I like.
There's a boy and there's a heron.
I was fighting for my life in Princess Mononoke last week. Meg was like, I heard your breathing change and I thought you fell asleep. And I was like,
were you really falling asleep?
There's just something about fucking music and Japan. No, it's like the music specifically. Thing is, I listen to like stuff to fall asleep. So it's like, I'm kind of trained myself. I've Pavlov's dogged myself to fall asleep when I hear like a light piano.
I did put NyQuil in your fucking Pepsi.
I know, that's what my heart's
and
been
Viv does have one of those clickers for when you go to a Ghibli movie.
No, I don't know about the clickers. I wish I'd never learned about the clickers.
I know Last of Us is really scary.
Anyway,
thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sitting with us through this quite emotional episode. I didn't cry.
Nice one.
That's what I would have. Do I want to cry?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'll just say a trigger word and start crying.
Hold on. Let me get the onion out of my bag.
Yeah. But no, very different episode. Talking about sort of how we feel about the film and emotional aspect rather than the literal observations. But, so if you feel a certain way about how we did this episode, if you've got thoughts, please email in or leave a comment.
Mike, if you're listening, also email in.
Mike,
we should probably tell you what the email is. It's allhailthekingpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
You can write to us on the socials. We don't mind.
Yeah,
got engagement.
Got socials.
We do have a TikTok, which I need to put stuff on.
I need to do that with First Time Flyers.
It's hard, man.
We've also got an Instagram, which is more active.
Yes.
They are both on the relevant platforms at All Hail the King Podcast.
And you can send messages to those, so if you want to send us a message with your thoughts.
There's a reason I didn't become an animator. It's because animating's boring.
Oh, wow. Fair. And we'll join us next time when we talk
about... If
I
had the patience, I would love to have been an animator.
Yeah, it's like...
I've talked about this many times.
However...
my stop-motion animation films from 2009 are probably the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, the fucking... I still reckon I have it in me to make like a brick film.
Yeah.
But
Magic Portal 2.
Magic Portal 2.
So that's where we are on the socials. But I do just want to thank you all. When we recorded the last episode, Shawshank, it was the day after our first episode went up.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have a lot of feedback. But we have actually had some words from like friends and people who have listened. Some people who are not friends who just kindly
I consider you a
shit.
friend.
I wasn't talking about you. I was just
I'm talking about the guy who's just like messaging on the Spotify or whatever.
Oh yeah, somebody did leave like something
just
on
like the
Spotify.
people
That was
who
really
joined
sweet. Thank you, listener.
Yeah. Any feedback is greatly appreciated.
Unless it's horrible.
No. Honestly, like at a point, I want people to say more negative things because I'm just like, stop blowing smoke at my ass.
Yeah. Humble.
It doesn't feel sincere if it's only the good things.
Yeah.
Just like, please, if there's something you think we can improve, let us know.
Give us a compliment sandwich.
But if you like what we're doing, obviously we are happy to hear that as well.
Yes.
And leave reviews, preferably 5 stars.
I'll take 4.
No,
Nah.
I'm drawing a line in the sand. It's got to be 5.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm like this on Vinted. Someone would have to like. It's either they get 5 stars or they don't get a review.
Good night, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.